Hello. Hey, what's up? Howdy. Welcome. Today is Thursday, December 2-1. Yes, that's December the 21st, 2023. My name is Brian Engelman,
Blake Walley is my name. Hello.
and this is the Agree to Disagree show, where we have conversations and where it's okay if we agree to disagree. We don't have to agree on every topic. Blake is online. You can find him on X. He is at TV's Blake Walley, and his website is thenextlevelnews.com. Blake, we are just 4 days away from Christmas. Are you shopped up? Are you ready to go? Are you festive? Are you feeling the season?
Yeah, about as ready as I'll ever be. Yeah, yesterday was a big shopping day. Groceries, last minute stuff. Wrapping it up. I did rest on Amazon already, so I think hopefully everything will be delivered on time. And Christmas doesn't hit like it used to. I'm not, waiting for a pile of Legos and GI Joes. I'm not like I sit there and I look at Amazon. I get gift cards and whatever, and I'm just like I don't even know what I want. So.
Remember how awesome you're so right. You are so right. Amazon Legos and GI Joes. My goodness. Can we just go back to the good old days?
Yeah.
That's when life made sense, my man. That's when life made sense. Yeah. I don't know. This season, it's just kind of, you get excited if you have a little one in your life or something. If there's a niece or a nephew or a kid or something like, what do you get a parent that has everything that they need? I don't know. You spend time with them. Maybe you go out to dinner or one of the things I've figured out what to do, because let's just face it, the last thing on earth that my father needs is stuff. He doesn't need any stuff. He's full of stuff. He has plenty of stuff. So I just kind of do like an Omaha Steaks box. Everybody's got to eat. It's not the traditional 50% off at Meijer stuff that he'll buy. It's like, hey, here's a couple good steaks. Here's a few nice sirloin, like whatever, top cut burgers and crab and shrimp and all that jazz. Just something to eat. I don't know, but yeah. We've entered the phase where it's way more exciting to give than it is to receive. I definitely don't. I don't know. I don't look forward to getting things, but do you have a favorite Christmas memory, Blake? Like waking up in the tree and like any gift that you got or any particular year? Was there a big toy you wanted or?
Got some cool stuff. I had some pet birds. I got my parents wouldn't get me a dog or cat or anything, but I did get some zebra finches. That was kind of exciting. Bookshelf stereo, of course. Yes, you never go wrong with Legos and GI Joes. That was huge for many, many years. In video games, I suppose. A few of those. Mm-hmm. Old Nintendo games. Yippee.
So NES, the regular NES?
Yeah, I don't think I got any Super Nintendo video games. Yeah, but if I did get some regular Nintendo games, I think that was definitely a big hit. It was like 1988, 89. I don't remember. Been a while.
What was the main game that you would play on NES? I remember Mario 3 was just a game changer. That was an incredible one. But I mean, me and my friend, we would play Othello on NES. I couldn't figure out how to beat him. I swear he beat me every damn time. But yeah, I liked Mario 3. I also liked
all Mario's were good. Mario 2 was great. Mario 3. Regular.
Yeah, I didn't care for Mario 2 as much. I don't know. It was just a little clunky to me.
Really?
Picking up turnips and
that was fun. Yeah, it was different. They changed it. It was weird, but it was cool.
Yeah, I probably said this. I probably retold this story on more than one occasion, but I definitely got up early one year and I opened all my presents. Oh, my mom got up and she was not too happy. We sat there. We quickly rewrapped every present. She said, and you were going to pretend that you were surprised for your little brother. Nice. I was like, okay. I mean, I was up at 3 a.m. opening all my presents. Oh, it was a whole thing. But yeah, the good old days. All right. So Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to all of you, wherever you are and whatever you're into. Try to be festive and pleasant and, take a little time for remembrance. Yes, it's the time of Christ, our Lord, our King. Unless you're not into that sort of thing, but either way, you can still appreciate.
It's winter solstice today, Brian, isn't it?
The family. Today's the solstice, is it?
I think so. So it's the shortest day of the year.
The winter solstice.
Isn't this old pagan holiday, and they covered it up with other stuff? I don't know.
One way to say it. Okay. Well, speaking of covering up, we're going to discuss the following stories today. We're going to get into Colorado trying to cover up an option in the 2024 election, removing Trump because of insurrection. We're also going to cover, was the decision just politicized to rig what's happening in 2024? Also, what should other candidates do? What would Brian Boitano do? Do you remember that song?
I sure do. It's an old reference.
God, that goes back to what, 97? God, South Park has been on the air forever, it seems like. Well, like
right, well, that was the movie. When was that? It's probably still 15, 20 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, the movie was shortly after, like 98, 99?
No, it was early 2000s, right?
Was it really?
That's where the Brian Boitano song came from, right? Or was it in the show, too?
Yeah, but I thought, Basketball came out.
They made the song, because the movie was a musical.
So Basketball came out like 97, 98, right after the series started in 97. Basketball was a hilarious movie with Trey Parker and Matt Stone.
Right.
But yeah, what would Brian Boitano do? You'll figure out what year that was. Also, we're going to discuss, should Biden now be left off of ballots because of the illegal alien invasion? Also, will America survive a second term of Trump? And in Blake's favorite segment, it's the 2 minutes hate. Criticizing Israel is career suicide for most conservatives, agree or disagree. Also, Zionists are fabricating lies for public support to bomb Gaza. Remember that song from John McCain, bomb, 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 bomb Iran?
Yeah.
Because it's Iran that's funding Hamas, who's attacking Israel. Once again, it's the same old story recycled. It's boring. Blake loves it.
It's not boring, but yeah, for Brian, it's very uncomfortable.
Same repeated story. It's the same story it's been for 70 years. Anyway, Final story. Pope Francis, should he repent for criticizing Israeli terrorism? So all these stories and more will be on today's show. Blake, what year did the movie come out?
You were close, Brian. 99. I was going to say early 2000s.
99. I said 97, 98, but yeah, I probably should have pushed it one extra year.
I would have thought like 2003 or something, but I was wrong. Okay.
All right. So if this was on The Price is Right, you would have went over.
Yep.
And I would have been 2 under. I probably would have won the showcase showdown, perhaps.
Congratulations. Yes.
All right, cool. Well, let's launch into today's show and discuss all the interesting news.
No. South Park is in Colorado. All right.
Anyway. South Park what?
Is in Colorado.
Oh, no, yeah. Okay.
Well, since we're on the subject of Colorado.
That's exactly why I did this. That's exactly why I brought this together. It came full circle. It's called perfection. It is the perfect segue for the leading story here. All right. So the leading story is going to be President Trump and his showdown in Colorado. Blake, agree or disagree that President Trump deserves to be off the Colorado ballot because of insurrection?
Well, clear disagree from me. This is pretty outrageous. I think they were really overplaying their hand here, thinking that they could pull this off. It's amazing. They actually had to, meet together and think about this. And I don't know what evidence they're looking at. I don't know what kind of pressure they're under. I don't know. They're in their own little bubble, and they, I guess, apparently thought this was a good idea. And now they're getting the backlash. And it's not just, from America. It's from other countries, too, are pretty shocked by the audacity of them to do this. So it's
we will discuss at least one other political leader, a newbie, a superstar on the global stage, if you will, has come out publicly. I'm sure you will discuss that in a moment. But yeah, it is shocking the sensibilities of the world right now. So let's dig in.
Okay, well, let's see if I can pull up a story. I know there's a few of them. I don't even know which one to start on, but heck, we'll just start here just for a little. Yeah, Colorado Supreme Court launches an actual insurrection against America with election by deplatforming of Donald J. Trump. So, yes, one decision, the clearly treasonous insurrectionist Supreme Court of the state of Colorado has declared that voters of Colorado have no right to choose Donald J. Trump to represent them as president. This is extraordinary. And this is the tip of the iceberg of the real insurrection that is taking place in America right now. So, anyway, Trump, the victim of election deplatforming, a form of political censorship that should be utterly intolerable in a so-called democracy. Going on to say Democrats must be just terrified of allowing American people to vote. So I can start there. I can move on to another one. Got a shocker. Bill Barr, corrupt Bill Barr, criticizing the Colorado Supreme Court, calling the ruling legally wrong and untenable. So even the backstabbing former Attorney General Barr criticized the decision to disqualify Trump from appearing on the state's ballot. A known critic labeled the ruling as procedural Frankenstein and argued that the finding lacks legal credibility and constitutional backing. Of course, the Colorado Supreme Court ruled that Trump's involvement in the events of January 6th disqualified him from the presidency, citing the 14th Amendment. The amendment states that no one engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the U.S. shall hold any office. Of course, Trump is obviously appealing that decision. We've got, this is from Disclosed TV, saying that the California Lieutenant Governor writes Secretary of State to explore every legal option to remove Trump from California's 2024 ballot. I guess that it was out of Politico. And we've got Joe Biden, of course, weighing in to say no question that Trump supported an insurrection, even though he hasn't been charged for that. It's pretty weak. They don't really have much evidence of any of that. Saying that it's an actual insurrection, but I don't want to keep repeating these same talking points. We've got a direct line between Joe Biden's deep state and Trump getting removed from Colorado's ballot. So this is an inside job. Left-wing legal organization behind Colorado's decision has a direct link to the Biden administration. Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington, or CREW, as they say. President and CEO Noah Bookbinder is a member of the Department of Homeland Security's Advisory Council tasked with giving real-time advice to DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas.
By the way, pause it there. Have you ever heard of a nerdier name than Bookbinder?
Yeah, that's a good one, yeah. That's a great one for a librarian or, an accountant.
Well, I guess since I already broke your flow, I just want to address...
No.
This new guy in the chat room, not familiar with Larry. It's not Trucker Larry. We like Trucker Larry. Yeah. This guy came in. He asks, "What poor red state are you guys from?" I said, LOL. Poor red state. What crazy commie blue state are you from? He says, Montana. Can you say anything without regurgitating right stream media narratives? I said, Montana's cool. How many illegal aliens has Biden dumped in your state to change your vote results? Larry continues, can you say anything without regurgitating right stream media narratives, or is that mostly your personality? Responded, what right stream media? Don't have cable and don't watch them. He said, Newsmax, 4chan, QAnon.
Wow. No
television, so just deep root analytics. All right. Welcome, Larry. Hope you enjoy today's program and Blake's MAGA t-shirt. And
right. Well, I am from Deep Blue.
Thoughts.
Right. Yeah. I am from Deep Blue, Minnesota. Yes. And I've been a lifelong Democrat and a liberal. but I do not connect with these modern day Democrats. I voted for John Kerry was the last time. I was disgusted with the Bush administration. There was no bigger critic of Fox News and the unjustified wars that I saw, weapons of mass destruction. Yes, Brian can attest. I've always been very anti-Bush, Cheney, Rumsfeld, and all of the neocons. I've always disliked them. I didn't really even start to warm up to Fox News until maybe 2013, because I did really hate the way that they were smearing Ron Paul and going and trying to promote Mitt Romney. They promoted John McCain, so I've always been against that. And in fact, but I didn't buy into Obama. So I was a Green Party, voting for Cynthia McKinney, libertarian. I am independent, but I would still consider myself absolutely socially liberal or libertarian or whatever. I think I'm independent, outside the box. I have never been a conservative. I have registered as a Republican to support both Ron Paul, who I saw as a libertarian, or Rand Paul, and then, of course, Donald Trump. But yeah, that's it.
I will add though, like you were saying about blue Minnesota, I think for our last three stories, there's quite a bit of overlap on your policy stance, same as Ilhan Omar and a lot of the squad. Ooh. We will find a lot of overlap there. Very Palestinian sympathetic, very anti-Israeli, if you will.
No. Okay.
But we'll get
I'm probably 80% pro-Israel, but I'm willing to criticize them, unlike most. I am extremely critical of the Bibi Netanyahu administration, but that is not against, just the Israeli people, who I think also want to get rid of Bibi. They're tired of his shit. He never goes away. He's deeply corrupt and unpopular, and he's still in power. So, but that does not mean that I'm just siding with Ilhan Omar. No, by just admitting that there's an actual genocide going on does not make me
double-sided genocide. I think we have to call it what it is. It's a double-sided genocide.
Fair enough.
Not just one side. But anyway, we'll get into that later. But anyway, I just wanted to welcome Larry. Larry's bringing up Cambridge Analytica, saying that the Cambridge Analytica made us their mark. All right. Well, thank you for all the accusations, Larry. Welcome to today's program. Glad you could find us. All right, Blake. Sorry to take you on that road trip, but I was having a little bit of fun with Larry. We got to get Trucker Larry back in here.
Oh, yeah.
Somehow.
That would be interesting. Or, yeah, Larry versus Larry. Yeah, because they'd be very opposite in their views. That'd be a good battle. I like it.
Very Larry.
Yep.
Oh, that would be a great Larry versus, like, Spy versus Spy on Mad TV. Or like Mad Magazine, Spy versus Spy, Larry versus Larry.
Sure.
Look, we got a segment just sitting here with your name on it. We just got to get one of the Larrys back in. Okay. Anyway, sorry, Blake. Sorry to take you off track here, but
no, I don't know.
Where were you?
I liked having different perspectives here, but I kind of suspect that this person is going to be pretty much regurgitating the liberal talking points, because I don't know how anybody could get behind Biden. You can dislike Trump, but I don't know how at this point with all of the policies in place. With this corrupt administration, that you can go along with any of it. So,
but I would say, let's be clear. There's no way Biden's going to run in this next election. I don't know how anybody could support the Democrat Party, because they're going to put either Hillary Clinton or Kamala Harris or Gavin Newsom or Barack Hussein Obama's spouse or The Rock or like they're going to Mark Cuban. They're going to put somebody up. And we got to be careful. We cannot make this about Joe Biden, because it's not about Biden. It's about his puppet masters, and it's the Democrat Party, and the deep state Democrat Party. We're going to discuss in a caption or two here. We're going to discuss, well,
a little bit of everything. I want to address this with Larry. How is it not an insurrection? Do we know what an insurrection is? Like a violent, like a revolution, like an overthrow of a government. What he called for was peacefully and patriotically marching towards the Capitol. People.
But you have that clip that we're going to pull up in a moment, right?
Yeah, which is going to be not going to be taken well by Larry, and I don't blame him, because I'm not a big fan of Steven Crowder myself. But although he does put out some good points, he's a talented guy. I don't agree with a lot of stuff, but no, there's no reason to keep Donald Trump off the ballot. that there is no insurrection. I'm sorry, he didn't say like, hey, everybody, take up your arms and go, storm the Capitol. No, it wasn't anything like that. It wasn't a coup. So is peacefully and patriotically. They haven't charged him with insurrection. Nobody's been charged with insurrection. So it doesn't happen just because they say it. It's just you're just regurgitating talking points. They're trying to make it into something 10 times worse than it actually was.
And if I could add something here, let me just buzz through a couple paragraphs of this article. If we want to talk about what an insurrection was, I've referenced this all the time. It's the classic movie Wag the Dog, where the Hollywood movie producer talks about, well, one day when we get to tell this story about how they rigged their election to kind of get their party in power. And the deep state handler, De Niro, he says to Dustin Hoffman, he's like, well, there's no way you're going to be able to tell this story. He goes, well, I know not now, but when we can tell this story. And he's like, no, I don't think you understand. You can never tell this story. And Dustin Hoffman's like, I want the credit. And you see him kind of nod to the guys with the glasses and the earpiece, and they take him out. He dies of a mysterious heart attack the next day because they offed him. This is a Time magazine article. I just want to highlight a buzz through some of this for just a moment, because they couldn't stop bragging about how they fortified, i.e. rigged, the 2020 election. This is from Time. It says the secret history of the shadow campaign that saved the 2020 election. The shadow campaign that rigged the 2020 election. This is published February 4, 2021. A weird thing happened right after the November 3rd election. Nothing. The nation was braced for chaos. Liberal groups had vowed to take to the streets, planning hundreds of protests across the country. Right-wing militias were girding for battle. At a poll before Election Day, 75% of Americans voiced concern about the instead an eerie quiet descended. As President Trump refused to concede, the response was not mass action, but crickets. When media organizations called the race for Joe Biden on November 7, jubilation broke out instead as people thronged cities across the U.S. to celebrate the democratic process that resulted in Trump's ouster. A second odd thing happened amid Trump's attempts to reverse the result. Corporate America turned on him. Hundreds of major business leaders, many of whom had backed Trump's candidacy and supported his policy, called on him to concede. To the president, something felt amiss. It was all very, very strange, Trump said on December 2. Within days after the election, we witnessed an orchestrated effort to anoint the winner, even while many key states were still being counted. In a way, Trump was right. There was a conspiracy unfolding behind the scenes, one that both coordinated resistance from CEOs. Voices were the result of an informal alliance between left-wing activists and business type formalized in a terse, noticed joint statement of U.S. Chamber of Commerce and the AFL-CIO published on Election Day. Both sides would come to see it as sort of an implicit bargain, inspired by the summer's massive, sometimes destructive, racial justice protests. Fiery but mostly peaceful, in which the forces of labor came together with the forces of capital to keep the peace. Oh, that's hilarious. To keep the peace and oppose Trump's assault on democracy. The handshake between business and labor was just one component of a vast cross-partisan campaign to protect the election. An extraordinary shadow effort dedicated not to winning the vote, but to ensuring it would be free and fair, credible and uncorrupted. An organized coalition of operatives scrambled to shore up America's institutions as they came under simultaneous remorseless pandemic and an autocratically inclined president. Though much of this activity took place on the left, it was Biden campaign and crossed ideological lines, sure did, with crucial contributions by nonpartisan and conservative actors. If by conservative they mean rhino deep state activists. The scenario the shadow campaigners were desperate to stop was not a Trump victory. It was an election so calamitous that no result could be discerned at all, a failure of the central act of democratic self-governance that has been a hallmark of America since its founding. Now, this goes on and on. This is a massive article about how they rigged the 2020 election. They could not stop patting themselves on their back about how they phrase it. They fortified the election. They rigged the election. By the way, go to CISA.gov/rumor control because they will tell you that my countervailing views are less important than their countervailing views, and they'll say it was the most secure election in American history. In fact, the only secure election in American history. So, Blake, I will share this. I will tweet this out on X. Follow us. We are at American_media_. If you would like to read through this, but this was the scene from Wag the Dog where they could not stop themselves from bragging about how they rigged the election. So you want to know about what the insurrection was to overthrow the institution of the President of the United States? It is right here in this Time Magazine article. I could read you the whole damn thing, but we have other stories to get to, Blake. I'll give you the floor.
Right. And I was in Arizona when the election happened. And I remember when they stopped counting the ballots, like six states, and we saw them call the Arizona one early. It appeared the fix was in. And then we woke up the next morning, and all of a sudden they found all of these extra ballots. How convenient. And they did the 2,000 mules. They weren't able to get all these controversies seen in court. Courts refused to see the evidence. And so we were just stuck with the results. And probably Trump botched some of the things that he could have done as well. Pence allegedly could have done some things, and he kind of let people down. There was supposed to be more things happening in Washington that day on January 6th. They were supposed to talk about the electors and have a debate, and Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley, they had evidence, and there could have been some interesting things happen. But once there was some violence that broke out, everything stopped. Procedures stopped, and the results were accepted, and here we are. And we still are kind of confused. How did Joe get 81 million verified votes? I don't know. But of course, yes, check with CISA so YouTube doesn't, crack down on the channel again. But I thought they've been holding us down for years anyway. But so a lot of people question that.
6 states paused. Yeah, 6 states paused their counting for the first time in American history. Then suddenly, with Trump up hundreds of thousands of votes in every swing state, in the last half, you're at the last part of the race, you're in the 9th inning, and then all of a sudden they call the game. Time out. We're suspending the game. We're pausing the game. We're just going to go in the back, and they come back out after a couple of hours, a couple of days. All right, let's resume the game. You look up at the scoreboard. Instead of being up 7-2, you're down 15-7. You're like, hang on, how did that happen? Well, No, we don't. Well, No, we don't. That was your insurrection right there. So, anyway, go ahead. I tweeted this out. I'm going to tag you, Blake, as well.
And a lot of people had an issue with that. So, if Joe Biden couldn't get 81 million people to show, or 81 people to show up at a rally, how did he get 81 million to actually vote for him, especially in places where it seemed like overwhelmingly that Trump was going to win?
Well, they talk about in this Time Magazine article that I just tweeted out at American_media_, and tagged at TV's Blake Walley. Follow both of us. It talks about how Zuckerberg and his Zuckerbucks were used to put drop boxes, illegal drop boxes, how they made sure that they didn't check signature verification, how they made sure to mail out ballots to everybody at every addresses that didn't exist. They made sure that they did everything possible to keep Donald Trump from winning in the blowout that he was ahead in by hundreds of thousands of votes. And they just got away with it. But Time couldn't help themselves from bragging. And I think it's going to be their downfall, their bravado. It's
assuming we can get legitimate results, because I don't know about that, which interesting. Let me pull up a very shocking conservative Ted Nugent here. I know this that's not going to go over well. I think he's pretty crazy as well. But I do have to pull up a meme that he put out, because it is pretty much tells you everything with this with the voting. So when valid IDs are required, so people are questioning, is all the mail-in ballots, or not checking signatures, or just not having the proper oversight. There's a lot of things to go over with all the problems that happened that night, but one of them is just not showing valid IDs. So that's one of the Democrat talking points is, it's like somehow a bad thing to ask for IDs to vote, but you need an ID to drive, board an airplane, buy a car, get a registration, get train tickets, rent tools, donate blood, get married, join the military, adopt a child, transact with a bank, buy a house, get a mortgage, get food stamps, welfare, get a firearm, adopt a pet, go to a pawn shop, go to a nightclub, buy cigarettes, go to a casino. I mean, not going to go over all of them, but when are valid IDs not required? Voting. And then, of course, you got the dirty voter rolls. There's so many different things in different ways, or ballot harvesting. They pulled out all the stops. I mean, congratulations. But we don't want to see that happen again. I just want some integrity. Hey, if Biden wins legitimately, good for them. I mean, if Democrats want to actually vote for those policies, hey, I guess that's what they want. I don't understand. I don't think the last few years have been very good. So I don't know why people would want to vote those policies back in. But, look at, San Francisco. So they don't seem to mind. And they'll just live in a filthy hellhole if they have to. I don't get it. But well, I don't relate well to the Democrats anymore these days. So they used to be the good guys to me, and now they have just they've gone way too far left. They've lost their minds, and it's the Trump derangement syndrome. And now they're actually siding with the neocons to basically take the country down.
Well, you have to be concerned about 12 million illegal invaders who have gone in. God knows where they've all been bussed to potentially overturn all of the middle American states, all of the ones that were predominantly who knows where they're all going. Yes, we hear about going to New York and Chicago. Yeah, we hear about that every day. It's not the only place they're being taken. In any place where they could potentially be given a ballot, even though they're not legally in this country, on the voting rolls and have no business voting in our election. I mean, it's got to be their plan, and it has to be at the core of why they have been derelict in their duty to secure the southern border and why they've been active participants in treason. And that's exactly what they're up to. I just want to add this one component. This is a message from Scott Adams on X. He says, the Colorado judges showed us what happens when otherwise good people are brainwashed into thinking Trump is Hitler. They act the way anyone would. They do whatever it takes to stop him. In this context, you can reasonably assume the 2020 election was rigged. The dynamic is the same. Otherwise, honest people will bend the rules to stop the bad man. So, I mean, Scott's talked about this all the time. When it comes to individuals, yes, we definitely have an innocent unless proven guilty as the number one primary call. However, when it comes to government, you're guilty unless proven innocent, because everybody knows that everything about government has the potential to be corrupted. So if you can't produce easily verifiable recount analytics, if you don't have the source code, you can guarantee that none of the machines were plugged into the internet. If you can't verify that signature verification matching was done on every mail-in ballot, if you can't prove that the results that were being fed are accurate, you have to assume that it's inaccurate, because it's the duty, it's incumbent upon the government to prove that they're not up to shenanigans. And if they can't produce any of these things, and they have not been able to, you have what Scott said right there. You understand why otherwise good people would bend the rules. So go to CISA.gov/rumor control for their countervailing views, who will tell you that Joe Biden is super popular. He had 81 million completely, totally legitimate, honest to goodness, real votes. And he won the election fair and square. Those are those countervailing views. CISA.gov/rumor control. Okay, please continue, Blake.
So, Brian, do you think you just have Biden derangement syndrome? He's doing such an amazing job. And you're just trying to find reasons to not like him. But Larry, I mean, seriously, do you think that, Biden actually calls the shots, or do you think he's just a puppet for whatever, special interests want him to push legislation?
And by the way, I want to give a shout out to James Bates. I was actually, James, I want to say I was drinking some of his gin. He, what is the brand name of it? It's a blue bottle. It's like Liberty Gin. What was it? James, do you have
Bombay Sapphire? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's similar to Bombay Sapphire.
Or just blue bottle. That's all I know.
Yeah, a little darker blue, but he brought me some of that gin. I had some a couple days ago. Thank you again for that. But James is in the chat here on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/The New American Media. Make sure you are subscribed. Blue Coat Gin. There we go. Thank you, James. Yes, Blue Coat Gin for the you had the red coats and then the blue coats. We like the blue coats around now. But yeah, he's saying BDS. Doesn't that mean Larry? Biden derangement syndrome? Yeah. Larry constantly. Oh, he says that's distilled in Philly. That is pretty cool. America. All right. So thank you, James. Welcome to the show. Sorry, sidetrack Thursday, I suppose. But where were we, Blake? Where were we? Talking about all the fun things. Where were you in the middle of before?
We're just talking about regular Colorado stuff. You wanted to get in, talk about the Steven Crowder clip when he was addressed.
It's
Colorado.
He put all the clips together in a nice way where in like 60 seconds we can just kind of catch you up to why Larry has to stop pretending that he's neutral, honest, intelligent. Look, whatever you're promoting is factually incorrect. Just if you could pull that clip up, like it'll just lay it out 40 seconds. Like it shoots down every.
What does Larry think about the open border? Whether these people are voting or not, we don't actually know. I'm not saying they are, but why wouldn't they require an ID to vote unless you had some other agenda? Like if these people have to have an ID for everything else, why shouldn't we have integrity in the elections and make sure that one person, one vote, one valid ID? Only people involved in America should be voting for our elections. Or doing ballot harvesting and just throwing it in the mailbox and then nobody cares or nobody checks the signature. People should show up on the day with an ID, get your vote. And
super easy.
Results
super easy.
Yeah. Unless they're trying to rig something, maybe.
Paper votes that you can double check. You put them in a box of 1,000. You can always recount them. They're sitting right there. You keep them for 7 months, 7 years, whatever the statute says. Larry says, sounds like you only know the Biden, no Biden from the memes and gaffe reels that you consume. No, I know Joe Biden from when he was in Ukraine, strong arming them with Burisma and saying, well, son of a bitch. They fired their prosecutor, so he'd stop looking into my boy's corruption with Burisma because I'm a paid shill and I've sold my country out to the highest bidder. I remember Joe Biden from that. I remember Joe Biden from all the plagiarism during the previous campaigns that he ran to run for president back in the 90s, late 80s, early 90s. I remember that Joe Biden. I remember the Joe Biden who's written about so glowingly, Blake, from his daughter in the diary with the inappropriate showers and how she was terrified to shower at home and she would wait until really weird hours so that he wouldn't come in and touch her. The one that raised a degenerate son who's always out there with crack whores, trading, secrets. He's completely blackmailable. He's a definite asset to anybody else, China, Ukraine, pick your random organization, random country that has him by the short ones. You want to talk about a compromised political person? No, I know Joe Biden from that. I know him from touching all those little kids and all those women who squirm away from him, just like you can feel the evil coming off of him. I've seen those reels. Yeah, I've seen those. Where else do we know Joe Biden from, Blake?
I mean, yeah, he was just the goofy sidekick for Obama. And, it was actually, sort of entertaining in a way. We didn't really take him that seriously. But now it's like he's so old, he's like, got dementia. And you feel bad for him. It's like elder abuse. And they're just trotting him out there. And I have no idea if he's actually involved in a lot of the policy making. Or if he's just a puppet administration. And controlled by whatever Obama and his handlers, which is fine, but I mean we can't keep propping this guy up. So anyway, it's disturbing, and he's already down to even a 34% approval rating. It still seems high, but I don't know how we can think that he's a good candidate. That wouldn't be very honest looking at the situation. So I would think if any people are still supporting Biden, they need to get out of their bubble. So what do they think? Maybe look at the right-wing media, even if you just want to, find out what's wrong with it. But I think everybody should get, a full scope, check out all, different sides of the argument and find out where they want, not just join a cult right or left. So anyway, that's what I would say.
Yeah, Larry's adding the southern border is the perfect campaign platform, isn't it? Yeah, we're going to get to that.
Why
absolute dereliction of duty and treason.
Something like 7 or 8 million, people have already been, at least
12.
Might be even up to 15 million. We don't know. We have no idea what the real numbers are and why. What is the explanation? It's not Biden derangement syndrome.
No,
there's no reason for it. What is good about Biden? I mean, enlighten us. I mean, maybe we're getting something wrong. I mean, happy to hear the argument, but I would just say, Larry, you're probably in your own bubble, just regurgitating the left-wing talking points. Those people have a vested interest in putting out those working for the DNC or getting paid for the mainstream media to push that stuff out. What is your excuse? Okay, I guess we're not able to think properly, so I don't know. I wish I could get Larry into the show because I actually want to see like face to face, and I want to hear him try to defend this candidate.
He's probably a Ukrainian bot pretending to be in Montana.
Yeah, I think the Inflation Reduction Act was good. I don't know. Not when I go shopping, Brian. I just told you I went Christmas shopping yesterday, and I paid quite a bit at the grocery store. And for many other little gifts. So it's prices have gone up pretty significantly under Biden. Not saying Trump didn't add to the debt or, that it was all magic, but come on, man. All right. Anyway, we want to run this Crowder clip here?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, let me know. Here we go. Let's pull this one up. Now, again, I'll just say, Larry, I would consider Steven Crowder and Ben Shapiro to be my ideological enemies to some extent, or usually would be, especially
And it's funny because Crowder can't stand Shapiro and Jeffrey, or what's that other guy's name?
You're kidding me.
Jeremy. Like we covered that. They tried to sign a deal and then
but that was their internal thing.
They hate each other.
Well, yeah, they do now because they threw him under the bus, Big Con, and the Daily Wire, that big slip up. But I didn't know if it was like an actual ideological thing. No, I consider them on the same page. At least they were until that contract dispute. So I am not a Crowder fan, and I am not a Shapiro fan. So those guys would have been my absolute nemesis through the Bush years. I've we kind of more on the same page, fighting something different, like the radical left that has gone totally off the rails during the Obama administration. So now I can't even identify with the modern day leftists. I don't think I've changed that much since 2006, but the leftists certainly have under Obama, and especially now under Biden. But anyway, we'll run this clip just to get that out of the way. I know we're sharing Nugent and now Crowder. So here we go. Here, Brian is going to talk about the Trump ban from the Colorado ballot and what that actually means.
You think that judges, you think that lawyers, you think prosecutors don't know that it would be relevant that he has not been charged? Of course they know that. That's why they want to get this out so that people like Joy Reid, Rachel Maddow, whoever is in the newest online podcast will parrot the point. And because of the insurrection clause, so people assume, they fill in that gap and go, well, I guess Donald Trump must have committed an insurrection. Never happened, hasn't been charged with it. The Colorado court has used Donald Trump's January 6th speech.
And just to say this again, Larry, Brian and I were at January 6th. We saw it firsthand. I know you watched it on TV and you heard about it through, filtered on CNN or MSNBC and think it's a big insurrection. It was not.
No, the crowd was 750,000 people. It was frozen cold. People bundled up. They were there just to, we did a man on the street. If you go to youtube.com/the new American media, this clown Larry trying to say that we're regurgitating talking points. We talked to people and put a whole segment together, declassified the unreleased J6 videos. We put our finger on the pulse of what was going on there. There was never a single moment where Trump is like, all right, grab your arms and let's go drag him out of there kicking and screaming, whatever it takes. That whole day would have been drastically different had that been the tone and tenor of the day. It never was. It never was. When he was talking, there were deep state assets there causing shenanigans. Pelosi et al. Were opening doors, walking people through to set them up. This is all bullshit. But Crowder lays out a couple of points, 1, 2, 3, back to back to back, in a nice way, in his own words, if you want to let this play.
As really the justification for its decision. It says, in his speech, which began around noon, President Trump persisted in rejecting the election results, telling his supporters that, quote, we won in a landslide and we will never concede. He urged his supporters to confront this egregious assault on our democracy, to walk down to the Capitol, ellipses, show strength, and that if they did not fight like hell, they would not have a country anymore. Isn't it interesting that they say walk down the Capitol?
Yeah.
And then something, yada, yada, yada. Show strength.
Something.
Well, let me tell you, yada, yada, yada. Here's the part they conveniently left out from President Trump's speech.
I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard. Today we will see whether Republicans stand strong for integrity of our elections.
And that is from that exact speech.
Peacefully and patriotic.
Just to be clear, but
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a great point.
And they left it out of what they're putting out in their press releases. It's as deceptive as the fine people hoax. Oh yeah, Trump called so-and-so's fine people. Nope. Literally in the same breath said, and I am not talking about these people or those people. I am talking, and they cut that out and just spoon feed you this garbage. They give you these lies, and they think we're morons. And I guess prior to the internet, they used to get away with this shit. The internet army of people doing real journalism, we will never let them forget in all of their lies. As soon as this happened on January 6th, everybody everywhere got the Pelosi narrative, the Pelosi-Pence narrative, and say insurrection about 1,000 times every show. Insurrection Act, Insurrection Act, Insurrection Act. Say it over and over and over. It doesn't make it true. And when they said ... that's peacefully and patriotically go make your voices heard. And people walked down, and as they passed the Justice Department, they were like, do your job, do your job, do your job. You know, they're yelling at the Justice Department going, 6 states paused and then flipped hundreds of thousands of votes and nobody got to watch. There's no recount. Like, this doesn't make sense. Do your job. Then they walked over there and were getting hit by bullets, knocking flesh out of the cheek, and people were getting shot like fish in a barrel. You know, you had the Ray Epps and a couple of insiders that were already causing havoc when Trump was still speaking. It's not like they gave the directive, go knock down those walls and drag them all out here to that toy noose that guy has. He's walking around with a guillotine. It's 3 feet tall. Let's go ahead and string him down, because you can't string him up because it's not a real size. Like none of that happened. So anyway, just continue, because he had 2 more points here.
Oh, good.
Just to provide some more context, all references available at louderwithcrowder.com, link in the description. If you think we're just pulling one soundbite out of context, here's some more examples.
We have to have peace. We have to have
January
law and
6th.
order. We have to respect our great people in law and order. My focus now turns to ensuring a smooth, orderly, and seamless transition of power. This moment calls for healing and reconciliation. I said, peacefully and patriotically. Be peaceful, be patriotic.
It's the day after. It's the day of. Like this is him. The only reason that this became an issue is because of the media and because of a lower court ruling, which basically was being appealed to the Supreme Court of Colorado. And the lower court screwed up in saying that he did engage in insurrection. And that's one of the things they're trying to base this off of. And it's like, again, not charged with it there, even in the lower court.
And it's also, as exactly said, withholding the evidence that he said patriotically, peacefully. So, and then they try to frame it as an insurrection while, hiding the evidence. Or, putting all those people, innocent protesters, into a gulag and then not showing the video evidence of the Capitol. So yes, it's very deceptive. Or, for Larry, the Biden, in the Council on Foreign Relations, bragging about how he fired the prosecutor. They deceive their viewers. So I'm surprised Larry claims that he watches right-wing media, but I don't.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was going to get to.
Makes sense. I mean, there's a lot of issues I have with Fox News and conservative media, but there's some things about Biden that are just absolutely damning that are on right-wing media and withheld from left-wing media.
Yeah, this whole narrative here is ridiculous. Larry's like, I'd hate to see the woke military buzz through MAGA with advanced military technology. See, that's something Biden says. It's like, whoa, what? You're going to fight our F-15s with your AR-15s? Like, this guy is not a right-wing person at all. He says he mostly watches right-stream media. No, you don't. No, you don't. There's no way you're a Newsmax, OAN, and Fox News guy religiously. And by the way, Larry asks, when was the Capitol building breached, and when did Trump tell his mob to go home? All right, so the people pushing on the fencing, Ray Epps and others, were doing that while Trump was speaking. It wasn't like Trump said, let's go get them, and then pitchforks and torches went down. It was already happening because it was planned in advance. And by the way, the other major point that Crowder didn't bring up there that he needs to is that President Trump said on at least two occasions, and Kash Patel testified about this, and they omitted it from the J6 hearings, that kangaroo court nonsense. By all accounts, President Trump requested, because he cannot order the National Guard, he said, I want the National Guard there to maintain just to kind of keep a presence. I want to make sure everything's okay. And twice, Pelosi and Bowser, and the head of Capitol Security, they all rejected him because it was a setup. They wanted what happened to happen. They opened the doors. They walked them in. They got their photo ops. They set them up. They did exactly what they had wanted to the whole time, because instead of then debating during the middle of the day about what to do about these states that paused and flipped magically, all of a sudden there's chaos. By the way, the only person shot and killed that day was an unarmed veteran mother who was killed by a man of another race. That was the only shot fired that day. Don't tell me MAGA people were instructed by Trump to go there in an insurrection to overthrow the military peacefully without any arms. That is absolutely absurd. So, by the way, when he says, when was the Capitol breached and when did Trump tell his mob to go home? By the way, I'll give you a simple answer on when Trump told the mob to go home. Number one, Twitter suspended President Trump's account when he was calling for peace and telling everybody, this is not who we are. I'm encouraging you all to stay peaceful. Exactly that little clip that Crowder just showed. Because President Trump did that, Twitter zapped him. You remember that. We're old enough to remember. Pepperidge Farm remembers. So they zapped his account. They wouldn't let that message get out there. Additionally, if you know anything about the day, which you don't, Larry, because you don't watch Newsmax and OAN, you're a bullshit artist, but I'm having fun with you. We're playing tennis. There was no cell coverage that entire day. Everything was just on the Capitol grounds. You couldn't get Twitter. You couldn't get internet. You couldn't get phone calls, some text through. Slowly, words started rippling through the crowd. We couldn't even tell, but someone was shot and killed. What? They killed a woman? Who did? What? Okay, like there was no coverage. Even if there was, go home. Nobody could have heard it. Blake, you remember that? There was no service that day.
Yeah. No, so not at all. It was really frustrating because you wanted to see what was kind of. Yeah, I like one Friday I had a couple of texts, and that's all I could really get. So I didn't know, because when you're on the ground and you have no idea, and there's not really that kind of communication. So it's just blind. And it turns out later, yeah, there were agitators, and there were all kinds of confidential human informants and provocateurs that were in there. They haven't admitted any of that.
By the way, who did the pipe bomb? That was the deep state pipe bomb that they were going to use if they didn't get their way, right? And they've just slid that under the rug.
Perhaps. We still don't know what's going on, but they do know, I think, who's done it, and then it has to be from, I think, the FBI. But that I think that was a plan. Like if they couldn't get the violence they wanted at the Capitol, then they might have pulled that card to blow up a pipe bomb in front of the headquarters of the DNC or RNC or both. So yeah, it's pretty disturbing that they were going to go to. And yes, they could have just had the National Guard there right away. None of that stuff would have ever happened.
No.
Everybody could have gone home, but they wanted to demonize Trump, call him an insurrectionist, put his supporters behind bars and control the narrative and not show any of the video evidence and not admit that there were informants agitating the crowd. There was a lot of things. There's a massive cover up that day, and we still don't have the footage.
Yep. And then Mike Johnson is blurring the identities of some people. It's like, are you blurring identities to protect innocent people from being targeted, or are you blurring the identities of the deep state operatives who were there participating in it? I've said this before. We got footage, and we, it's in the archive, it's in the vault. You can find it, but there was a massive flag that came over top of us, and I don't know how many people it was taking to cover. Not a couple. I mean, it had to be 40 people. This was a massive flag for the false flag. And the people behind were yelling, if you're not going inside, get out of the way. And as you watch the footage, everyone that goes by, it's like a light blue, a polo shirt, the khakis, they all have the same boots on. They're all feds, likely. It seems like that was just a way to get them all from the back to the front so that they could work their operation clandestinely, so that they could get there under the cover of a flag. We have footage of people changing their clothes from all black to MAGA, or from all black or all MAGA clothing to all black. It is not what these people are trying to tell you it is. And honestly, people like Larry, I'm done engaging with people. I'm having a little bit of fun with it right now, but like, I'm done seriously engaging in anyone that uses the term conspiracy theory, conspiracy theorist, or insurrection or insurrectionist. These are not serious people. I'm half convinced they're AI bots, or they're just brainwashed, brain dead people who are going through Stockholm syndrome. MSNBC has so badly poisoned your brain. Yes, Trump insurrection, Trump insurrection. And no such thing happened. The real third, read the Time magazine article that we tweeted out. Go on X. It's at American_media_, and we tagged at TV's Blake Walley. Follow. Read how Time bragged about how they fortified, i.e. rigged, the 2020 election. So go to CISA.gov/rumor control, because their countervailing views will tell you it was the most secure election. For the first time, we had one legitimate, secure election. First time ever. Because for every other previous election that Republicans won, you heard nonstop whining and crying from Democrats saying that it was stolen and rigged. But hey, at least we got one of them right, with massive mail-in ballots. So anyway, I digress. Okay, Blake, let's continue.
Yeah, but we can't call it an insurrection. We can't take them off the ballot and say it's an insurrection, and then they remove the major part of the language where he says peacefully and patriotically march. So they are deliberately misleading people in Colorado, and they're in their bubble, and they thought they could get away with it. It's been a backfire. He does not. They have to win it legitimately. Show the proof. They don't have to play these little games of removing evidence and trying to trick people.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But it's what you do when you're full of it.
Right. So yeah, they're definitely scared of Trump running again, and they're making very desperate maneuvers to keep him off the ballot, and it's pretty pathetic. So let's pull up another story here. Brian, was this the one where you were going to thought I was going to mention about President Bukele out of El Salvador? Even he's saying that the United States has lost its ability to lecture any other country about democracy after the Colorado Supreme Court ruled that disqualified Donald Trump in the ballot. Do you agree? Of course. Absolutely agree. So doesn't make any sense. We're going to switch to the next topic, Brian, which is kind of dovetails with that.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that.
Maybe we should get rid of Joe Biden from the ballot for the dereliction of duty.
All right, let's go to the stinger. Here we go.
Okay, well, let's
There,
pull up
try to figure out if that is rust or 22 bullet holes in that sign. I think they're 22 bullet holes.
Oh my God, there's no bullet hole in there. No bullet hole.
All right, what do you got? Oh, next one here. Let me get you the next.
A couple of them, yeah.
All right, so Blake, agree or disagree that the Colorado court decision was political? And wait, I guess
we have another one too.
Which one am I doing next?
I guess doesn't matter.
Yeah,
we can touch up on that one. Wow, 4 of them? Okay.
Biden should be off the ballot because of the illegal I got to change this. Illegal alien invasion. Agree or disagree? Biden should be off the ballot because of the illegal alien invasion.
No, disagree. I mean, he should be accountable for that, and I'd like to see Mayorkas get impeached for that. I hope the American people start to see that. I think some of them are feeling the pressure in some of these sanctuary cities, Chicago, New York, and they're seeing their California cities they're turning into hellholes with just taking in like massive amounts of illegals that we can't continue to support. So maybe that'll backfire. I don't know. Or they're going to give them all voting rights, and they're going to replace us. I don't know. So I don't know. I don't have any faith in the integrity of the next election. So we'll see how this plays out, I suppose. But yes, they have to have some kind of an explanation. Maybe Larry's got an explanation. Why don't they seem to want to do anything about the border? How does this benefit America to have at minimum 7 million, perhaps up to 15 million illegal immigrants pouring over the borders, and they're still not doing anything to stop it? We could pull up some of the, these different cities, Eagles Pass or the Rio or what have you. There are still just waves, hundreds of thousands of new immigrants just ready to come in here, get their phone, get their benefits, be shipped all over the place. We've got all these different reports of people just on planes being just dropped into different cities. What the hell? How do we explain this? Mayorkas should be absolutely impeached. I mean, I can't believe they're not. I don't know what we're planning to do with these people.
Well, I have a little bit of something to play. Do you have a clip to play here first?
We could play this, but this is Texas Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick flipping the script after Trump gets barred. Maybe we should take Biden off the ballot in Texas for allowing 8 million people to cross the border since he's been president. I won't run the clip per se, but even your nemesis Ronnie D saying the same thing. There's no trial in this. Could we say Biden can't be on the ballot because he let in these 8 million people and violated the Constitution? So I don't know. But of course, we do know the writing's on the wall. Even Obama thinks Biden could lose in 2024. They're doing anything they can to try to win, even if they have to perhaps cheat. If they just have to remove, they're going to keep the pressure on Trump and all these different courts and all these trials, and to try to get him off the ballot if they have to. That's how much they fear him. So, anywho, but where are we going, Brian? You take it from here.
All right. No, I have one. If we're trying to figure out why up to 15 million illegal alien invaders have entered this country and what the plan is, remember, this is not about Joe Biden. Joe Biden barely knows how to change his diaper, what state he's in, or who he's getting money from on a kickback. Is it Kazakhstan or is it Ukraine? He can't even. Is it Transylvania? He doesn't know. He can't even keep track. It's flowing through all 21 of his shell corporations, his bagman Hunter. Actually, Jim Biden is running the operation. He's trying to claim plausible deniability. But this is Obama and the deep state at the core of what you're seeing in what they say is Barack Hussein Obama's third term, his shadow term, his third and most honest term. So let's just kind of listen to him in his words tell you what's going on with a wide open border.
Our foreign service, open consulates that have been shuttered, and double the size of the Peace Corps by 2011 to renew our diplomacy. We cannot continue to rely only on our military in order to achieve the national security objectives that we've set. We've got to have a civilian national security force that's just as powerful, just as strong, just as well funded.
Do you remember that quote, Blake? Do you remember that?
I certainly did. Yes. Yes. Barry is very deceptive about everything, and it's curious. Yes, they do not like the right wing. They're afraid of militias or whatever. So it was curious, like creating a new army of
civilian
radicals.
force just as well for our military. You have Los Angeles now saying that they're going to accept illegal aliens as police force. You had Dick Durbin, Democrat, saying that they're going to have illegal aliens are going to be given guns and training to join our military. Oh, you've really flooded our country full of millions of people to turn their weapons on us because you're trying to overthrow this country once and for all? Oh, how dare I connect the dots? How could you be any more blatant with what you're doing? 100% Joe Biden needs to be taken off the ballot. The Democrat Party is a terrorist organization who needs to be taken off of the ballots everywhere in 2024 and beyond. They are a terrorist group. Don't tell me we're supposed to take our shoes off at the airport, but you're going to just flood our country with millions of people from China, from Venezuela, from all of the commie shithole countries across the globe, all the totalitarian regimes, all the radical jihadis with an axe to grind. You're going to station sleeper cells all across this great country, snap the power off, and you have all of our addresses ready. You know where to go. I've always said if Hitler had the technology we had today, he probably could have taken over the world. And guess who Google has in their back pocket? Guess who? Why do you think Mark Zuckerberg is fleeing to a subterranean fortress in the Hawaiian mountains? We know what he did to fortify the 2020 election in an insurrection. We know that they've been mining our data with FedBook. They have stationed illegal aliens to attack us at the drop of a hat. I don't know exactly what that looks like. I don't know exactly when it's planned. But what else? When Obama's on video saying that he needs a civilian force as capable as the military and as well-funded. These illegal aliens are being paid. I mean, they're getting first-class flights. They're given debit cards, credit cards, preloaded with thousands of dollars, 4-star hotels, transportation anywhere that they want. They are being guided. This is very orchestrated.
Getting on the planes without ID or whatever. So while the regular people, while Americans have to, show ID and get groped by the TSA, they're just letting these people that are coming in. All they do is they have like a piece of paper, like saying that they get a clearance. It's amazing.
That really should have been a story in our stack today. But I mean, we're talking about it. Follow us online on X where we share these stories nonstop. But yeah, and by the way, all the air marshals have been taken off of the air marshal flights. Did you know that?
No.
Because they have said that the real terrorist threat are MAGA extremists. That is how extreme this Obama-Biden White House is. They have weaponized all of their forces against us, the good people of this country, and we're all onto it. And they couldn't be any more in your face about it, Blake.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very weird how they're switching the narrative, and just as classic Americana patriots are now the enemy, and now it's the woke leftists and illegal aliens are now the good guys, and anybody who likes the World Economic Forum and subscribes to the globalists. So. No, it's just interesting. Larry was saying we should have paid attention in school. Should have paid attention to how to spell paid. It's PAID. That's all right. I wanted to point that out.
That's beautiful.
Mail-in ballots during a pandemic. The pandemic is a conspiracy too. The plandemic. Well, we won't get into that today. But anyway, so
yeah, you go to WHO.int and CDC.gov.
Yeah.
Anyway. It was definitely utilized to get drop boxes everywhere, to get phantom mail-in ballots and no signature verification, and mailing out ballots to people that didn't request them, and the post office. Oh yeah. It goes on and on. It goes on and on. You wouldn't trust a shareholder meeting when the votes were cast this way, but you're going to trust an election? No way. If, like I said, the burden of proof is on the government to prove that this is on the up and up. So
we need illegal immigrants, I guess, because many adults live with their parents. That's why they need illegals. That's the logic from the liberals. Okay, thank you. Legals come.
Larry does strike you as a conservative, right? As a libertarian-leaning person on the right side of things.
This doesn't make.
He's definitely not on the left.
No, I don't get it. I'm happy to welcome immigrants that want to come here, be Americans, contribute, or if we needed them, if we had a labor shortage, that would be amazing. To let all these people in, make money, and bring it home, share the wealth. It's a win-win, but it's not. But
number one issue to that is going in through the front door. You don't break into somebody's back door and expect to be greeted pleasantly. These are break-ins. Every one of these are break-ins.
Yeah, not when we have people that are unemployed. We have so many homeless. We have so many other veterans or what have you that could use these different jobs. And what we're going to let them just the illegals take them, and that's just going to lower the standard of living too, because they're going to work for less money. So that's just going to hurt everybody. Then we're going to have a lot more people living at home because they're not going to be able to afford to live by themselves. So that's ridiculous. I don't know why you make excuses for that. People they don't. I don't get it. So how do you criticize us? And that's where you're gonna twist things for all of the illegal immigration invasion that's going on our border. There's got to be a better explanation for that. So,
all right, Blake. Well, did we sufficiently cover the second one here? Colorado court decision was politicized to rig 2024. I mean, I guess it's all kind of wrapped up. The only one more that I want to get to is about withdrawing their names from Colorado. Did we cover this one, you think?
Yeah, let me.
Or did you have a specific article related to that one that we didn't touch on yet?
Well, I was just going to pull up yours. You were saying the new. Let me pull that one up because you had a tweet that you sent out. I had it on a different browser. So
yes, go ahead and pull that up, and I'll take that moment to remind you to please follow the New American Media on Spotify. We are the Agree to Disagree show on Spotify for the podcast. On Truth Social, we are the New American Media. On Rumble, we're the New American Media. On X, we are at American_media_. On Telegram, we're TNAM and TNAM Chat for the New American Media. On Facebook, it's TNAM, the Agree to Disagree show. On Instagram, we're the New American Media, and youtube.com/the New American Media. Follow us in all those places, please. Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I guess so. This one is about all other candidates. Should they withdraw their names also from Colorado? Let's let Vivek. I think that's about 2 minutes long. Let's listen to what he has to say. Because by the way, I think it's Scott Adams. He's mentioned this. He's an interesting political analyst, and he talks about free money, the concept of free money. When a politician can walk in and identify an issue that's it's a no-lose situation, and if you're the first person to say it, it's like you find a pile of money and you just reach down and pick it up. Vivek putting this out, he's finding free money. It is the perfect response to this shenanigans. And we'll just let him say it in his own words. Can you full screen this?
Yes. Okay, let's run it.
They have just tried to bar President Trump from the Colorado ballot using an unconstitutional maneuver that is a bastardization of the 14th Amendment to our U.S. Constitution. This was a provision, Section 3, that was designed to bar Confederate members, people who switched to the Confederacy, from actually being able to serve. That's very different than what's at issue here, to say the least. This is a hollowed out husk of what the country was built on. The basic principle that we, the people, select our leadership, not the unelected elite class in the back of palace halls. That's old world Europe, not the United States. That's why I'm making a pledge today that I will withdraw, I pledge to withdraw from the Colorado GOP primary ballot unless and until Trump's name is restored. And I demand that Ron DeSantis and Chris Christie and Nikki Haley do the same thing, or else these Republicans are simply complicit in this unconstitutional attack on the way we conduct our constitutional republic.
And I think they are complicit
in that. I think what they're doing is wrong. And I think it's up to Republicans to step up and stand up with a spine for our country's future. That's really what's at stake. Whether we, the people, actually have a say in deciding who leads this country. Yes, it would be easier for other Republicans like me who are running in this race to say, hey, if Trump is sidelined, there's our opportunity. No doubt other candidates are probably privately celebrating with their corporate sponsors. That's not the right thing to do. I think the most useful thing that every GOP candidate can do right now is to join me in that pledge. I'll say that I will withdraw from that Colorado GOP primary ballot until Trump's name is restored. This belongs to the people, not to the unelected Democratic cabal of judges in Colorado or any other state. And I demand that Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley and Chris Christie do the same thing, or else they're complicit in what this security state is trying to do to shut down Trump. I stand by that and I do the right thing.
And I think they're complicit as well. I think the game plan all along is for the Liz Cheneys, the Mitt Romneys, the Ron DeSantis, the Chris Christies, the Nikajandra Ramaswamy, Haley Ranajandra. What's her name?
They have just tried to bar
Ranajandra Ramaswamy. I forget. Whatever Nikki Haley's real name is, even though she goes by a different name, and she tells us we need to use our real names online. I think all these people are complicit. I think that their game plan with the GOP is to get rid of Trump, to like allow this type of thing to happen, to throw him under the bus so that they could move on from Trump. And that's kind of what Larry is saying here. If you want to see 2025, it's just there's no moving on from Trump. There is no letting them get away with this. If they're going to Trump's biggest campaign slogan is, they're not coming after me. They're coming after you. I just happen to temporarily be in the way. And that's something we can all feel on a visceral level. This is about all of us. And so I think Vivek was perfect in his summarization there. I think his call to the others to drop out was perfect. And then I sent you that other one, Blake, where the Colorado GOP responded right after that. Do you have that one by chance?
They sent one. Yeah, sorry, you got a couple of them here. So they went up on a different browser. For whatever reason, they go on a different browser. But it just says, congratulations to the Colorado GOP. You won't have to withdraw from the primary as a party and convert to a pure caucus system if that is allowed to stand. And then
there you go.
Yeah. Yes. So I'll just read that one off. Just a quick note, because I've only got about 15 minutes here and I've got to run.
Okay, I guess we'll bounce to the. Did you have any thoughts on what Vivek had to say there?
No, I think it's great, and I absolutely agree. I don't. There's no way that Chris Christie is like looking forward to Donald Trump getting imprisoned. So that's never going to happen from him, and he's not pledged any support whatsoever. So I think that's basically what he said at one of the last debates, was that it won't matter because he'll be in jail or what have you.
Yeah, and he got booed by the audience because as Laura Loomer said, 80% of that audience, it's all pro-Trump. Like, they're there for the show and to participate, but like they're not supporting these characters. It's all Trump all the way. They feel that Trump was screwed out of 2020, and they're going to do whatever they can to put him back in 2024 and get our country back on track. By the way, her real name is Nimarata Nikki Randhawa Haley. I'm not trying to make fun of her. I am just trying to point out that she's the idiot trying to say we need to use our real names online, even though the founding fathers in our governing documents and with the Federalist Papers, they knew that if they used their real names, they'd be destroyed. They'd have their businesses ruined. They'd have their homes torched, and they'd end up in a gulag. So they had to write under pen names. But even Nimarata Nikki Randhawa Haley, she doesn't go by her name. She goes by her nickname of Nikki Haley. So, it's the epitome of exactly what the deep state stands for. Okay, so unhinged warmonger Nikki Haley says America won't survive a second Trump term. Blake, do you agree or disagree with? Ooh, look at those Skeletor teeth.
Right.
Oh, she's scary. What do you agree or disagree with Nimaranda? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I will definitely disagree with that. It's pretty laughable. So yes, she is unhinged and she is bought and paid for, as Vivek has said many times. No, I don't expect her to support and join with Vivek to take off the ballot. Not going to happen. She would love that if they just took Trump off all the different ballots. That gives her a clear shot. Her or Ronnie D. I think Ronnie D would. I don't know if he has. I know we did mention that, why not take Biden off the ballot too because of the illegals. So at least he's partially on board. So, but yeah, Christie and Nikki Haley are absolutely awful people. So they should not be there, period. But they're actually putting in a ton of money. We've got Nikki Haley spending $4.3 million on TV ads just in New Hampshire. So that's pretty scary that there's that much money involved. That's totally military industrial complex. That is whatever Raytheon or Boeing or who have you. She's got a lot of that deep state money, and they definitely want her in. So we shall see. But yes, she is up to some weird stuff. I got a clip too from Glenn Greenwald. But Warmonger said what? Nikki Haley upped her attacks on Trump during her latest interview with the Iowa outlet, saying the country won't survive another Trump term. President Trump is the only president in her lifetime who did not bring America into war. Trump destroyed the Chinese economy, exposed, I don't know, this is some weird stuff here. Exposed the North Korean tyrant. Trump brought peace to the Middle East, and he obliterated ISIS, something Barack Obama said would take generations. So what is Nikki Haley even talking about? I don't know. Yes, the U.S. can't survive another warmonger like Nikki Haley, to which I would absolutely agree. We would not recognize this country anymore. That could have been pretty terrifying. As much as I criticize Obama, it would have been pretty disastrous to have John McCain elected, and who knows what could have happened with wars throughout the world, the endless war on terrorism and the Patriot Act there. But I definitely don't want anything like that back. And Nikki Haley definitely brings that. So bad news. And here we go. There's another crazy clip from Nikki. Or what did you call it? I forget her real name, but her birth name. But
Nimrata Nikki Rondahawa Haley. Nimrata is her first name. It sounds very close to Nimrod. Nimrata.
Yeah. So here's one: establishment sectors pretend conspiracy theories come from reckless extremists who exploit unfettered speech. But if you look at the most unhinged and destructive conspiracy theories over 25 years, they've come from the establishment. And Nikki Haley is one of the most insane. So now she's attempting to tie the Hamas attacks to Putin. They love to fire these people. And I've actually been in the GOP in Nevada, and the way that they like lie and fearmonger to these like the people that want to vote for them, it's just shameless and disgusting. But you know, it's good to catch these all on video now. So here we go, roll clip.
Remember when I told you Putin hit rock bottom? Hamas invaded Israel and did all that brutality on October 7th. October 7th is Putin's birthday.
Get that. So she's making that connection that Hamas and Putin are
it's
so
like a 3-year
close.
delta.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
It's like one of those stupid Q drops.
Yep.
It's a 3-year delta. I find this very interesting. Oh, it's very interesting? It's not interesting. It's literally the dumbest shit I've ever heard. Thank you, Dave, whoever you are. Oh, I can't stand. Oh, this is very interesting. No, it's not. There's zero interesting about this. It was on somebody's birthday. So stupid.
Oh yeah, no. Now that we paused it here, this is pretty hilarious. Looking at the people in the background, I don't know if people can see that, how skeptical they look. Like, oh my God, did she just say that? None of them were like, oh my God, you just blew my mind. Wow, she put it all together. They're all like, huh? Really? But that's interesting body language from the local Iowans at the speech.
Who's the happiest person in the world right now?
The happiest person?
Putin. Why?
Who's the happiest person in the world right now, Brian?
Larry.
Because the U.S. and the West took all their eyes off of Ukraine. And what did we do? Started looking at Israel. Did Putin call Netanyahu? Nope, not for 10 days. You know who he did call? Hamas. They came the next day and they held hands and said they were friends. We now know the Russian intelligence is what helped Hamas know how to get through that barrier. See the connection.
He's making connections, and I don't know exactly what to make of whether Putin actually met with Hamas and shook hands, and they're all good allies. But what I do know,
saying it was Russia that helped them get through the Iron Dome. Is that what she was saying?
Yeah, with working with Iran. It's hard to take her seriously on that. She's obviously very.
But the Iron Dome was penetrated in a way that was unusual.
Yeah,
you said
I don't know what's
behind it.
Well, I'm kind of the mind of I'm in my own conspiracy theory of thinking that was partially an inside job, and I don't trust Netanyahu and
that it was perhaps likely Bibi behind it, but she's saying it was Putin behind it. It's pinned the tail on.
I can't imagine. Putin is doing so well right now in his war with Ukraine, so why would he throw it away or try to team up with Hamas to go after Israel? It doesn't make any sense to me. But I can understand why he wouldn't want to talk to Netanyahu. Netanyahu's been there for years, and he's just not taken that seriously by the international community. The people that take him most seriously are the American conservative movements, like Nikki Haley. This is just a quick clip. I'm not even going to play all of this.
Well, Nikki Haley's the military-industrial complex.
Oh, absolutely.
That's who we pegged her at. She was poor, and now she's rich, and she's in the back pocket of what? Raytheon and Boeing and all of the the major weapons manufacturers.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Go sell us some more, would you?
Right. So I won't play this clip because I don't even remember where I left it off. But Oliver Stone did say that, he'd met Netanyahu years ago, interviewed him when he was out of office, and he thought he was a madman then. And I think he's gotten worse and worse. We did play the clip of Trump last week talking about how he thought Palestine was much more likely to make a deal than Netanyahu, who he said did not seem to have good faith as far as really making any kind of serious deal with Palestine and the Palestinians. So no, I don't. Doesn't mean Putin is accepting Hamas or likes them, but I don't think he would want to talk to Netanyahu. He knows exactly what Netanyahu is. So, but that we can switch now to our minutes of hate, or 9 minutes, because that's about all the time that I have left.
2 minutes hate. We need a new stinger. That Blake, can you make a new stinger for the next show that's 2 minutes hate?
Perhaps, yeah.
All right, let's do it. All right, here we go. Who said Haley Newsom would be an interesting ticket? Where did that come from? I didn't even see that.
More war and more poor. No, that's from Dreamer Ultra. I like it.
All right, Blake, agree or disagree that criticizing Israel is career suicide for most conservatives?
Yes, I think so. I don't know if now the only person I think that's actually probably criticized Israel that's in the conservatives, to my knowledge, who kind of lightly did it and had to walk it back, was Charlie Kirk, who said he was kind of he was very skeptical right after the 10/7 attacks, saying, how could they possibly have let their guard down? I've been there. Israel's the size of New Jersey. They have the most secure, border in the world. They know everything that's going on. How did this happen? Of course, there was a humongous backlash at him.
But by the way, Blake, as I said on a previous show, I'll just give you one counter to that. That is as gross as to criticize that. It feels like, well, she wore a provocative dress. She was asking to be raped. It's possible that you got surprised and you got butchered, and you weren't able to stop a bad person from doing a bad thing, a bad group from doing a mass casualty event. It's possible that maybe bad people did something bad. It's not our fault because we couldn't see it coming and defend against it. They were down for 7 hours. It's like, well, he dressed too provocatively and she deserved it. It's just too close to that, and without definitive proof. That's just my counter to that argument.
Right.
So go ahead.
It's supposed that Egypt warned them, America warned them, and
I understand.
They were supposed to warn the festival goers. They didn't. It seems like, I hate to say it, they maybe allowed it to happen as a big power grab and a reason to instigate another war against his political enemies. I don't trust Bibi. He was in political trouble. They were ready to oust him out of office, and then all of a sudden, right on cue, Hamas attacks, and some people even think that he's partially behind running Hamas. Now, I don't want to go into all that rabbit hole stuff, but the major point is, and I kind of tried to bring up a hypothetical the other day, like what if somebody on Fox, I criticize Fox News a lot, even though I've kind of warmed up to them for a lot of reasons over the last several years. But when this Israel thing broke out, and of course with the Ukraine war, they tend to be very pro-war. And I see a lot of it drives me crazy hearing a lot of the pundits, and they always take a very 100% pro-Israel side. And I just don't know if it's possible for any of them to say, oh, okay, well, yes, Israel's got a right to defend themselves, but man, I think they went a little overboard when they attacked Palestine. They will never make any hint of criticism. And I think if they did, it would be immediate career suicide by any of those people. You're never going to hear, even if Glenn Beck believed it, or if any talking head on Fox or Newsmax or any of these big outlets, if they were to ever just make a minor criticism of Israel, I think their career in conservative media would be absolutely over. And I think a lot of them know that, and that's why they fail to ever criticize them, no matter what happens. Is that, you think, you agree or disagree? I'm not, calling you out. I'm not putting you on the spot. No pressure. But do you think that's true? Do you think what do you think would happen if Glenn Beck said, hey,
I don't know anybody that's gone further than Ben Shapiro and Glenn Beck. I mean, like those two are like,
or Levin,
damn near playing for another team at this point.
Yeah, they're all joined at the hip.
But I mean, independently of funding, I could empathize and understand a lot of people that they just, they're over it. They're over the constant attacks. Everybody in Gaza's got to go in the opposite direction, go into Jordan, go into Egypt. We're done. And there is nothing that is too far. I think there's a lot of people that can honestly say, you butchered 1,500 people at a music festival, piss off, you're done. Your tunnels are getting blown up. Your infrastructure, you're all gone. You're all getting evicted. You're like, we're done with all of this stuff. You won't recognize Israel is right to exist. You won't negotiate, and you won't, I forget the 3 no's. It's like they have sworn eternal death to Israel. And it's like, okay, well, then you're out. You've lost your ability to stay next door. We're going to level next door. You got to go to Egypt or Jordan. Like, I think a lot of people have just had enough. They're tired of it. Decade after decade, turmoil in the Middle East, war in the Middle East, an attack kills so many people in the Middle East. It's like, yeah, every damn day. It's gross. But at some point, like, all right, you won't play nice. You got to go out of the sandbox. So I could at least understand.
No, I hear you. But do you think for like the big name, right? Position. But for the big name talking heads on TV or radio, like Glenn Beck or what have you, do you think that they could criticize Israel? They say, hey, this has got to stop. They should really have a ceasefire. 20,000, 24,000, however many people now that it's dead. Maybe they should just back off a little bit. Do you think that they would be like removed from the air like that? Do you think they would get cut off there and that they would never work in conservative media again?
Well, Blake, are you implying that a certain group controls the media?
Not going there. But I'm
just asking you an honest question. You're saying, will they get excommunicated from media if they say a certain thing? Are you implying that a certain group runs the media?
I'm saying there's enough power and control and money there that they would never say anything because they know that it would be the end of their career.
The power and control that who has?
I'm not saying that they have just full control, but as far as their career goes on that narrative, yes. But I'm not going into that, Hollywood and everything. The Jews,
you're going there. You're one step away from going there. Let's just finish the.
I'm not saying that Israel controls all of the conservative media. I'm just saying that we're so tightly, that's our ally, that they would never say anything bad because they know it would be the end of them. So do you think that's
all right? 2 more topics here, Blake.
Okay.
Zionists are fabricating lies for public support to bomb Gaza. Agree or disagree that Zionists, and I think we thought we had a definition for that, and then I don't think we do, and then I thought we did, but now we don't. I don't know if that's a 4-letter word, Zionist, because it's only used in a derogatory. I thought it was just people that want to keep the current state of Israel as it stands. It's turned into, something else, but I thought that's all it meant. So I don't even know what that word
Zionism is not
means.
Judaism. It's just, the Zionism is the people that, believe that they're entitled to have, occupy these lands in Palestine, their ancient land. But I don't actually know if they
occupy. That's a leftist phrase. Occupy.
Well, they join in. Well, they did join in. It wasn't just Israel all the way through. It was Palestine for a long time. And then, yes, at first they were welcomed in, and then once there's awful was the Holocaust, and there was the British occupation of Palestine. The United Nations jumped in and decided we're going to give them a homeland. We're going to try to let them each have a certain section. And then that's when everything went to shit. And it's just been 70 years of mostly, it's been problematic over there, to say the least. And now, after 10/7, I don't know if they'll ever reconcile.
No, both sides have said they will not reconcile. So it's 2 men enter, 1 man leaves.
Yeah,
they have decided to a battle at dawn, at high noon. They're having a duel, and they will not stop until it's over. We didn't vote for this.
I wonder if they can. Right,
we're going to fight.
You think they could get rid of Hamas, and then get rid of Netanyahu, and then bring up new leadership from both sides, and then maybe they could work together? Is that possible? It's never going to happen under Hamas or Netanyahu, obviously. They're never going to see anything. But no, I wonder if that's
I don't think with no, I don't know, unfortunately.
All right. Well, anyway, getting back to this quick article, because I got like a minute left here. We continue to hear bizarre stories, the babies baked in ovens, Hamas fighters raping and killing women. There's no proof. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken says that, beyond anything I've seen, which turns out is nothing at all, because they still haven't shown any evidence of any of these alleged atrocities. It's bad enough that there were people, at the festival that were just killed. But I don't actually know if any of the baby stuff and the attacking kids and raping and all that stuff actually happened. And in my opinion, it perhaps is true that they are making this atrocity propaganda because they can justify, wiping out Palestine, which is their ultimate goal. And then we've got, scandal-stained Israeli rescue group fueling the fabrications, and they are making tons of money. They're closing on a $50 million fundraising goal by basically spreading atrocity propaganda. So that's wild. Wasn't going to get into this too much. An Israeli government propagandist wrecked for the intelligence failure narrative. Because they don't want to show
her dress was too provocative. She was asking for it. She should have defended herself against the murderous monster that attacked her, right?
Well, they should have evidence. If they're going to say all these things and try to get us all riled up and want us involved in war, and they want a bunch of money and military weapons, then they should at least show proof. That's all I'm saying. So that seems to make sense.
She was walking in a dangerous part of town. She should have known better. She was there as a country in the Middle East.
They should show evidence of these attacks. They should, if they're going to say that there was all of these, sexual mutilations and kids bound together and burned alive and beheaded babies and all that stuff. Shouldn't they show proof of that? If they're using that as an excuse to carpet bomb Gaza, then they should at least show that that's proof. Because then people might actually be outraged and go, "Oh my God, did you see the 40 beheaded babies? Yeah, screw all those people. Yeah, bomb them all. I don't care. We'll sort it out later." But I don't take their word for it. And anyway, so you're seeing the propagandists, they stumble around because it's hard to answer some of these direct questions. And so they're not really permitted to answer that. It's difficult for them. They're just basically, take our word for it. So I was trying to get to. I know I'm pressed for time here. Oh, they're trying to show right. They're trying to show everything, but they're saying we will share those answers when the time will come. So, as they're saying, how is it possible that so many hours passed before this attack was contained? I've said 9 hours, but it's been widely reported it's been 7 or 8 hours from the inaugural onslaught until the world-class Israeli military arrived on the scene to defend the festival goers and the whatever residents were in that area. And so the person that's defending Israel just said, well, it's a good question, and we will share those answers when the time will come. That just doesn't seem good enough to me. But lastly, I'm just going to say, because I got to run. I'm running late already. This last agree or disagree, because the chief rabbi telling Pope Francis to repent for the sin of criticizing Israeli terrorism in Gaza, which is quite interesting because there was a Christian mother and daughter that were assassinated in the Gaza church. But then Israel had to twist that and say, "Oh, they were just spotters for Hamas." No, it was they're bad people. We did good. And because Pope Francis was obviously outraged seeing his own Christians being killed, and said that that was Israeli terrorism. And then the rabbi is now saying that Pope should repent. So very interesting stuff. But anyway, I've got to run. I'm already running late, but it's been delightful. Larry, hope to see you again. Thank you, Dreamer and Kenneth and everybody and anyone watching the archive. Great job, Brian. This was delightful today, and I hope to have it continue next time. But I've got to run. Take care, everybody. I am out.
Thank you, TV's Blake Walley. Follow him on X at TV's Blake Walley and The Next Level News. Yeah. And we just encourage you to follow us in all of the platforms, please, the new American media, because the old American media has failed you. Yeah, I haven't had cable television. I haven't watched any of that stuff, and I can't tell you how many years it's been. Quite some time. But we sift through what's going on, and we cover stories that seem important or underreported or incorrectly reported. That's kind of what we do here. Twice a week, Tuesday, Thursday, 3 o'clock Eastern time, we do the Agree to Disagree show. Usually on Monday, we do the Unhappy Hour Sports Show. That's another one. So we're going to ask that you follow us in the following places. I need to get one graphic that will have all of these for you in one spot. But Truth Social, the new American media, please follow us there. On Spotify, the Agree to Disagree show, and the Unhappy Hour Sports Show. Rumble, the new American media. On Telegram, TNAM for the new American media, and TNAM Chat, TNAMCHAT. On X, we are at American_media_. On Facebook, we are TNAMS, TNAM', all capital, then a lowercase s. I think it matters because they censor us so much. TNAM's the Agree to Disagree show on Facebook, private group. Good stuff all day long, every day on that channel. Instagram, the new American media, and the Unhappy Hour. On YouTube, the new American media, and the Unhappy Hour Sports Show. Signal, I think we're TNAM and TNAM Chat on Signal as well. But yes, please follow us in all these places. We agree to disagree. It's not always just talking into an echo chamber. So hopefully that's something. Hey, Dreamer, thank you. Dreamer says, bravo, Brian. Job well done all year. It's been fun having you, Dreamer. Hope you're enjoying those coasters. They're pretty awesome, aren't they? Yeah. You know, we like entertaining, encouraging, thought-provoking, challenging discussion and debate. Larry has asked this question twice about what church I attend. You know, I would probably say, unfortunately, I don't regularly attend a church. And if I had to think about it, outside of a wedding or a funeral or something, like, I don't remember the last time I went to church. That might be amongst the short list of New Year's resolutions, perhaps. It might be amongst the short list of New Year's resolutions. I really do feel as though the veil has been lifted. You know, they say Revelation is, you know, it's not end times. It's the revealing. It's moving the veil, lifting what has been occulted. Occult not meaning evil, occult meaning hidden or obscured. I think the clear lines between good and evil have never been more stark. And I am sorry to people like Larry. You know, if I'm to believe that you watch the channels that you do, that you don't consume a lot of MSNBC or CNN, because you're repeating a lot of their false talking points. I mean, it does kind of sadden me to hear people not understanding the gravity of what 2024 is. I don't know if you're misguided. I don't know if you're on payroll for opposition, a sock puppet account, a troll. I don't know. But it's never been more obvious to me that President Trump is the man for this job. And seeing Colorado do what they did, it is taking us to a dark path. And, you know, I will say this about Larry, who's been prominently featured in today's show. Kind of reminds me of Mike. If you guys remember back a few months ago when Larry, did you ever go by the name of Mike? So I feel like we had the same types of conversations with a Mike. But you were saying that mainly, you know, you find yourself, consider yourself to be apolitical, and you're mainly trying to avoid a civil war. And you twice made allusions about being scared of the woke military coming after us. And in this show, I discussed multiple times about how there's millions of people that could potentially be civil sleeper cells in this country, ready to be activated to turn themselves on the American people at a moment's notice. What they say about the rapture or the return of Jesus Christ, that it will be like a thief in the night. Just like that. Just like that. And it's done. I was actually recently watching a sporting event, and all of the 40 TVs went blank screens, black. Power was still on the building. I wondered if that was connected to a generator. And I went, I told the guy sitting next to me, I said, is this the EMP? Did the war just start? Not being a smartass, literally wondering, is it go time? I've said on this program, I mean, we've been doing this show for 12 years. I've been saying on this program that I am concerned. I am riding through the town, 1 if by land, 2 if by sea, 3 if by deep state. The next thing that's going to happen is going to be a revolutionary war, a civil war, and a world war all rolled into one. The allegiances are going to be so muddied together. It's going to be so strange and convoluted. Probably as convoluted as that Civil War movie where it said that Texas and California have joined forces against the United States. Like, in what universe would California join Texas? But that is part of their great replacement theory. Yeah, you can say that. You can say it because Vivek Ramaswamy said it. You can say it because Joe Biden said it. You can say it because it is the Democrat strategy to change the recipe of America and dilute our nation with non-citizens. God knows what types of allegiances and deals they have in place and deals they've cut and money they've taken. Think about the Revolutionary War and the Hessians. They were fighting for pay. They didn't give a shit. It's not like they grew up. What did Aaron Lewis from Stained on his solo album say? Well, I grew up on an old dirt road in a town you wouldn't know. My pops picked up the place for $1,500 back in 1954. My granddad was a drinker back in the day. He put him down. Anyway, I could keep going on that song, but it's a story about. Actually, you know what? I'm going to pull up the lyrics. I can't play the song. Aaron Lewis. What the hell's the name of the song? There we go. Country Boy. But there's a difference between someone that grows up on the land, their father grew up on the land, their father's father on the land, and they care about where they live. how much do you care when you sneak in the back door into another country? Could you even imagine the gall to just sneak in the back door illegally into Mali, to slip into Turkey, to just bust through a border wall in Mongolia, to hide in the back of a pickup truck or something and end up in Bolivia? But it's happening every day here. The lyrics here for Country Boy. Now I grew up down an old dirt road in a town you wouldn't know. My pops picked the place up for $1,500 back in 1964. Okay, I was close. My grandfather was a drinker back in the day he put him down. But a war is known to change a man, and the whiskey's known to change a man. But that's not me. I rarely drink from the bottle, but I'll smoke a little weed. I still live in the sticks where you wouldn't go. In a town of 1,200 off an old dirt road, and a country boy is all I'll ever be. Now, it's been 12 years since I sold my soul to the devil in L.A. He said, sign your name here on the dotted line, and your songs, they all will play. He set up shop on Sunset. He put me up at the Marquee. He said, you want to sell 1 million records, boy? You better listen to me. He said, change your style, whiten your smile. You could lose a couple of pounds. If you want to live this life, you better lose that wife. Do you need your friends around? And I said, no, that's not me. Because the biggest things in life are your friends and family. And I like my jeans and my old t-shirts, and a couple extra pounds never really hurt, because a country boy is all I'll ever be. Because Hank taught me just how to stay alive. You'll never catch me out the house without my 9 or 45. I got a big orange tractor and a diesel truck, and my idea of heaven is chasing white-tailed bucks. And as a country boy, I know I can survive. Now, 2 flags fly above my land that really sum up how I feel. One is the colors that fly high and proud, the red, the white, the blue. The other one's got a rattlesnake with a simple statement made. Don't tread on me, is what it says, and I'll take that to my grave. Because this is me. I'm proud to be American and strong in my beliefs. And I've said it before, but I'll say it again, because I've never needed government to hold my hand. And I've said it before, but I'll say it again, because my family's always fought and died to save this land, and a country boy is all I'll ever be. You have people in this country that have been here for generations, who give a shit. You have an invading force that does not give the same shit. They have no legal right to be here. State your name and purpose. For 12 years, Larry, I've been warning people about what's coming. That's why we started the New American Media, because 12 years ago under Obama, we could see on the wall pretty clearly what was on the horizon, and it wasn't positive. It wasn't good. And there's that famous clip where Obama talks about, if I could be in the basement, like with an earpiece, and maybe telling the president what to do, maybe I would consider that. This is the third Barack Hussein Obama term as president. And it's unquestionably the most honest Barack Hussein Obama term as president. Remember when President Obama was meeting with the Russian diplomat, and he said, after my next election, I'll have some more leeway? So interesting that they've been trying to frame Russia after all that. But it's the same group of handlers. It's the same deep state team that Barry plays for. It's just Biden as the weekend at Bernie's. You Prop him up, pull up the string, and he waves. That brain-dead slob. It's a Barry Obama puppet. Barry Soetoro. Barack Hussein Obama. Whatever name you want to call him today. Nimarata, Nikki, Rhonda, Hawa, Haley. But I've been warning about where we're heading because it's not the future I want. You know, but this whole philosophy, I don't know if that was your intent, Larry, but it was like, are you ready for the woke? You know, they have superior firepower and technology. They're coming after you. Are you scared? It's like, bro, the entire government has been weaponized against normal people. And they're coming after all of us. It's just Trump that happens to be in the way. They have a globalist plan. They're addicted to depopulation. I mean, it's not just written on the Georgia Guidestones. It's the same crap that, how dare you, Greta Thunberg and Klaus Schwab and Bill Gates. These people are openly saying carbon is the cancer. Hey, fewer people, fewer carbon, right? Fewer carbon molecules. The place that they're trying to take us, this deep state, these globalists, these deep state Democrats, these rhino Republicans, the Liz Cheney, Chris Christie, Nikki Haley. Sorry, Ron DeSantis, you jumped into the dirty pool. You're part of that group now too, buddy. You were the heir apparent and you screwed that up. Boy, did you screw that up. Mitt Romney, John McCain, Lindsey Graham, these you can't call them Republicans. Mitch McConnell. Oh, are they the worst? Kevin McCarthy. These people are as bad as a regular Democrat. They might even be worse because they're the sheep. They're wolf sitting there dressed up as Little Red or dressed up as the grandmother. I don't know. I'm mixing metaphors here. 3 little pigs and hair on my chinny chin chin. But it's the wolf in sheep's clothing. At least when Dick Durbin says, I want to arm illegal alien invaders and train them and put them in our military. Are you out your damn mind? Larry, if you don't see something like that, I question your authenticity. Larry says, I'm the overconfident dead type. Huh. Sure sounds threatening, sir. Oh, here, let me fill in the blank. He's going to say that was a critique. No, just a warning. Uh-huh. Is this one of my handlers again? I'm glad you could join. Dreamer says McCarthy is just about gone. Yes, that is addition by subtraction. So what's coming is something that we should really be prepared for. And I encourage all of you to get prepared, get trained, be alert, be smart, be efficient, be self-sufficient. Put yourself in a position where you don't, what do they say? The borrower is slave to the lender. In as many ways as you can, put yourself in a healthy financial position. Yeah, Larry's asking about truck payment and income level ratio and seeing if there's a soccer mom with a black SUV. Yeah, Kenneth's saying bullets and whiskey. Beans, bullets, and Band-Aids. Gold, God, and guns. Beans, bullets, and Band-Aids. 3 Bs, the 3 Gs. This would be a mighty fine time to just get as ready as you can. Because the world could change that quick. And where did all these millions and millions? Let's see, how many? Just to say the word, the following phrase. Millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of illegal alien invaders. Where are they? Hang on, I'm not done because that's the low end estimate of 7 million. What about the other millions and 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 millions of other illegal alien invaders? Where are they? This is Joe Biden, Barack Hussein Obama controlling the puppet strings, a weaponized federal government, an out-of-control state government trying to take Trump off the ballot, facing 91 goofy charges. New York, the lady runs for attorney general saying that she's going to go get Trump. Aha, see? Look, something about a bank, something about lending. The head of the bank is like, yeah, he was a great customer. We made a lot of money off him. He made every payment on time. And you're claiming what? That he overvalued, undervalued what? We're a bank. We don't take anybody's word. We run our own tests. Can you buy a house? Is a bank going to loan you money to buy a house without running their own appraisal? No. That's how the business world works. Everybody knows it. That's nonsense. Georgia. Oh my gosh. Give me a break on Georgia. Give me a break. Well, how dare he claim that his election was rigged? Yeah. You and how many other people smelled something absolutely rotten in Denmark? It's all absurd. Trump represents a roadblock to a lot of bad things. Now, is he a perfect president? No. By the way, there's never been a perfect president. That's like idol worship. There's no such thing. Not sure what religion you are, but if in 4 days you're going to worship the birth of Jesus Christ for Christmas, there's one perfect person that walked the earth. Never been a perfect president. But on a lot of the big picture issue topics, President Trump got a lot of the big picture stuff right. You can fault him for a lot of things, but he didn't turn over Afghanistan, the airport and the planes and the cars and tanks and trucks and SUVs and Emperor as hell didn't turn that over to a bunch wherever that stuff has ended up on the black market. Certainly didn't have war in Ukraine when Trump was president. Certainly didn't have China circling Taiwan like they are right now with Trump as president. Inflation is not as out of control. It was not as out of control under Trump. Draining our strategic oil reserves, Biden, Obama. Are you kidding me? Getting all of our military offshore so that we can be invaded on our home soil. I don't know, Larry. Does that sound like the overconfident dead type? Or does that sound like the type that's kind of concerned? People getting on airlines without having a show ID. I'm sorry. Are we still in a post 9/11 world? Or am I living in a fucking cuckoo clock? Yeah, that sounds overconfident to me. Oh, maybe I just don't understand the meaning. Hey, Valiant Thor, what's up? Let me get to your comment in a second here. Cold dead hands clutching their semi-automatic weapons. I mean, bro, you saw what Vietnam did to the United States, right? You saw what Afghanistan did, right? Afghanistan's they've been attacked how many times? The Russians in the 80s? Russians in Afghanistan. Wheel of Fortune, Sally Ride, heavy metal, suicide, foreign debts, homelessness. We didn't start the fire. Yeah, Afghanistan really waited out the American invasion. Look, they're gone now. You keep saying goalposts. What do you mean by goalposts? We're making comments. What goalposts? Globalization goalposts. Yeah, there is a massive globalization effort underfoot. They want everything to be in a smart city. Cameras everywhere, being surveilled everywhere. They don't want you to have the autonomy of a gasoline-powered car to come and go as you please. They don't want autonomous beings. They want slaves living in concentration camps called big blue cities. No thanks. No, thank you. It is way too much energy right on top of itself. Valiant Thor says there's a disturbing trend emerging in the media wherein they seem to feel it's their duty to determine which ideas we are allowed to be exposed to. Yes. Well, it's the Smith-Mundt Act. Something that who put into place? Barack Hussein Obama. Remember that? I've read this before. This goes back, but it was Obama who recently. Here, let me find one that says Obama, because it's talking about in 1948. The Smith-Mundt Modernization Act. Advocates of improving the U.S. government's global communication capacity and thus its public diplomacy heaved a sigh of relief in January. This is January, what year was this? 2013. When President Obama signed the National Defense Authorization Act, the NDAA. You know about it. And by the way, look at all the traitors that agreed to the NDAA. Rubber stamp that on the Republican side. You know, there's a few things that I can look the other way. It's like, it's a bad decision, bad vote, but whatever. But this recent NDAA allowing the FISA abuses, we have a Fourth Amendment. And by the way, where's our Supreme Court jumping in to overrule this stuff? But anyway, Obama signed the National Defense Authorization Act, otherwise known as the NDAA. And he also signed into law the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act. It's MUNDT, Smith-Mundt, which contains a much-needed overhaul of Smith-Mundt's prohibition on domestic dissemination of the programming of U.S. international broadcasting for American audiences, where American listeners, including those in Congress with budgetary oversight responsibility, can access the programming of the Broadcasting Board of Governors. Greater transparency and improved quality should follow. It goes in effect July 1st, 2013. This is where the U.S. government says they're allowed to push propaganda. They're allowed to lie to you. This was stopped until Obama brought it back. And look what happened in 2013. Hang on. Use of terms in media. Okay. Now this is PolitiFact. All these it's going to be far left silliness. All right, so there's a graphic showing a use of words about racism proving media manipulation. Where is the... Oh, is this the... There we go. What year did this go up? Huh. Look at that. Look at that. Our divider in chief. Here, let me share this with you. But yeah, I sound like the overconfident dead type. No, I'm just connecting down here. Just trying to warn you guys. I can't tell. You know, I think some of you guys are legitimate. I think you're honest. I think you're, you know, at least you're telling the truth about who you are. Some of you, I you know, I don't know. So here it is, PolitiFact. Elon Musk shared this, and it's so interesting. Here we go. Elon says massive public manipulation. Oh, yeah, they're going after Elon now, too. Does Elon sound like the overconfident dead type? The rabbit hole 84, there we go, says if legacy media is going to shove bigotry porn down our throats, it should at least do so in an honest manner so people have an accurate understanding of racial dynamics. Time and time again, legacy media has failed to do just that. Yes, and don't ever call them mainstream. There is nothing mainstream about them after Obama did what Obama did. So racism. This is the use of the term, you know, just a little bit down here. Oh, little spike right there because Obama was running for office, and the Washington Post, the Compost, really wanted to drum that up. But 2011, 2012, 2013, oh, looky right there. Look right here. See, PolitiFact, they're going to try to tell you this has nothing to do with anything. Oh, it's a vast right-wing conspiracy, they'll say. Look at this parabolic rocket ship to the moon. To the moon, I tells you, to the moon. 2013. Use of these terms in the media. When did the CIA, the FBI, the NSA, and all the deep state assets, when did they start teaming up and circle jerking on NBC, on CBS, on ABC, ESPN, Disney, on all of the not mainstream, nothing mainstream about propaganda, especially when it's bullshit, the lying legacy media? Look at this. New York Times, between 2010 and 2020, up 712%. Washington Post, up 361%. Wall Street Journal, up 468%. And the Los Angeles Times, you might as well call them the Lost Angeles Times, up a whopping 756%. Now, is there anything else that happened in 2013 with Barack Hussein Obama at the helm that could have contributed to this divider-in-chief, the most bigoted and racist president we've ever had? And yes, that includes all sorts of people from Nixon to Johnson. Wow, that's saying something. Oh, I said it, and I believe it. Look at the division that's been caused in this country. Not because of Donald Trump wanting to build a wall and actually check the IDs of the nightclub. When you're letting someone in, you have a responsibility to make sure they're 21. They are who they say they are. You check the IDs. Oh, you can just run inside of a country, though? No thanks. Racist. All Obama does, he comes from that school, the Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, race hustler shakedown school of division, destruction. Look at that graph. I know if you're listening on the podcast after the fact, you don't know what I'm talking about, but I mean, it's just everything is pretty much, for the most part, kind of static. A blip here, a blip there. From 1970, yeah, and I guess in 90, you had the riots. 92, things kind of peaked for a minute there. A little before, a little after, but mostly static, mostly the same, and then shoots right up at 2013 when the Smith Modernization Act came in. This is what Barack Hussein Obama is. This is what the people around him are doing to destroy the United States of America, and people are going along with it. It is horrible what's happening. It is a shame. So yes, Valiant Thor, they're determining which ideas people are allowed to be exposed to. And that's exactly what the Twitter files have proved. Still waiting for the Meta files, the Google files, all working with the government. That is fascism. The government teaming up with private corporations in a massive censorship campaign against libertarians and conservatives and Republicans. Because Obama and the people around him his team of people that are still in the Biden administration, that's what they did. Obama was doing it prior with the fake FISA warrant. Fusion GPS and Perkins Coie put something out paid for by the DNC and Hillary Clinton's campaign so that they could get a FISA warrant to spy on Trump, candidate Trump. Then the deep state said, "Oh, there's a P tape. He's compromised." No. What you mean is that Hunter Biden's compromised because he's got he's how many countless videos banging hookers, driving 170 miles an hour, doing cocaine all over the place. He's completely out of control while he's running blackmail campaigns. They always project what they're doing onto the other. So he said Trump had a Russian hooker P tape, so he can't be president. See, Russia's trying to put him in because they have blackmail on him. That was all a Barack Hussein Obama stunt. A Hillary Clinton, deep state, Barack Obama stunt. This is what they have ushered in. And yeah, the social media Valiant Thor, per your comment, at least now we're on Rumble, where we have the opportunity to speak freely. We're on Spotify, where we have the opportunity to speak freely. We're on Truth Social, where we have the opportunity to speak freely. We're on Telegram, where we have the opportunity to speak freely. We're on Signal, where we have the opportunity to speak freely. We're also on X, where we temporarily have the opportunity to speak freely. Although, despite all the amazing, wonderful, fantastic things that Elon Musk has brought us, he's mining data just like everybody else so that his AI Grok can have the most up-to-date stuff. And if you have a place where people think they're free to speak, well, guess what? We're going to speak our minds more freely. People self-censor on Meta, on Instagram, on these other crap platforms, YouTube. They self-censor. So you don't really even know what they think because they know that you're not allowed to say what you think. So in reality, X users are providing the most honest feedback possible because they're allowing actual conversation. You can agree to disagree on subjects. But luckily, even though the civil rights abuses by Barack Obama and the deep state have targeted ordinary, good, right-leaning, libertarian-leaning Americans, there are platforms where we can disseminate information now outside of the purview and the censorship tools of social media 1.0. I think there's a delineation line there, pre-Elon and post-Elon. Pre-Truth Social, post-Truth Social. Zuckerberg took down our Facebook page with no cause, no opportunity to remedy any alleged issue. Just silenced around the time of the election in 2020. Absolute election interference to shut people's ability down to discuss issues. Nothing illegal. Nothing. None of it was ever claimed, just like in Colorado. Nobody ever claimed. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me clarify. Nobody ever charged Trump with that insurrection, by the way. Nobody's indicted Trump. You can indict a ham sandwich. Nobody's ever indicted Trump for insurrection. Nobody's ever certainly gone to trial and found President Trump guilty of an insurrection. But Colorado, despite not having any of those prerequisites, they unilaterally did something that they can't do anyway. So yeah, despite not committing any crimes, Facebook just silenced me. Absolute election interference, civil rights abuses. It's a private platform, not when the government's involved. And the government was heavily involved in every social media site. I mean, hell, Parler started getting big, and they shut that one down. That was going to be not the predecessor. One of the main rivals to Twitter X. Oh, they shut Parler down, but they can't stop Truth Social. Can't stop Telegram. So yeah, Valiant Thor, it is disturbing. It's a disturbing trend where media feel it's their duty to determine which ideas people are allowed to be exposed to. Those are called gatekeepers, and gatekeepers suck. Valiant Thor continues, a society can't survive when the government encourages dependence on them. Oh, they temporarily thrive, and they drum out actual productive members of society from participation. Oh, commies, come on. Any unproductive, unsuccessful, untalented, bitter, vindictive, person of any country. Oh, come on. Anyone who's not doing well loves to hear, hey, look at that rich guy. He's got all this stuff. Go get him. Vote for me and I'll go get some of their stuff for you. What do you think these 12 million people are being promised? 15 million people are being promised. Flooding the border. What do you think they're up to? What do you think they're going to be up to? What promises have been made? We're going to find a way to get you a mail-in vote, and you're just going to have to fill it out the way we need you to and submit it. What have they been promised? Look at South Africa, what's happening now. The genocide down there. It's always the same. Look, it's the productive people. And Ayn Rand wrote about this in Atlas Shrugged. The productive people, it's their fault. Go get them. Vote for me, and I'll take more of their stuff. But you're right, Valiant Thor. A society can't survive when the government encourages dependence on them, discourages faith, discourages hard work, discourages ambition, discourages independence, discourages the ability to take care of yourself. Absolutely. Valiant Thor asks a fantastic question to Larry. Larry, our tennis partner of the day. Hey, Larry, why would they, being the deep state Democrats, why would they propose to disarm their own citizens, Americans, but fully arm a terrorist organization, the Taliban, with assault rifles, jets, helicopters, tanks, and missiles? All right, Larry, that's a good answer, sort of. Larry replies, because threatening gun legislation sells the most guns and ammunition. Yeah, but they really do want us disarmed. They want the good guys disarmed, and they want to only allow bad people to attack good people. It's the Kyle Rittenhouse theory again. What? That one was about Jacob Blake, that monster that was SA assaulting women, and he came out to his car and went for his knife, and he got shot and paralyzed, and so they were going to burn down the place that Kyle worked, the town where he spent most of his time working. And he went there, protected, thankfully, or else he would have been a smear on the asphalt when that pedo went after him. Trying to put the entire Second Amendment on trial. If you don't have the right to defend yourself against somebody chasing you as you're retreating across the street, across multiple parking lots, in between two cars where you're attacked, then I guess you don't have the right to defend yourself. And they're trying to put that on trial. Oh, they want us disarmed. The fact that we have our Second Amendment is the only reason why they haven't tried this shit earlier. Oh, there you go, Larry. Yeah, I don't know about you, Larry. You're kind of weird. Says, cool, bro. A graph showing smartphone use. Yeah, and that's the reason why I think you're a paid troll, a handler. Because I've noticed this. A real person wouldn't have the laundry list in front of them. The actual tit for tat, quid pro quo, this for that. When this argument is brought up, here's how you respond. You have a shit answer for every good point that I make. Because Media Matters gives those out to the trolls. The people that are on payroll. The handlers. The ones that follow certain shows and engage. To every accurate depiction, you have the official left-wing deep state narrative talking point that allegedly destroys them in that intellectual debate. This argument destroys what they thought they just showed. It's not true, but you are following the script. Dreamer adds, they tout the yearly inflation rate. They tout the yearly inflation rate change month over month. Yeah, I know. As if that matters. You still got to get back to normal. But they never speak about the actual yearly inflation rate, which is still well over 2% target. Now they want to start cutting rates again. Well, they want to start cutting rates again because it's an election year. They want to try to lower the price of gas. They want to lower the cost of a mortgage. They want to boost stocks a little bit. What do they call it? A dead cat bounce or something? I don't like that phrase. Yeah, it's all manipulated. Absolutely. Valiant Thor says the 2022-2023 was the tip of the iceberg. I feel that 2024 might end up being one of those hold my beer years. I mean, what could they possibly do to top what happened in 2020? I don't know. I mean, EMP attack, grid going down, black swan economic event, maybe the crash of crypto, CBDCs taking over. Okay, I guess that is a good point right there, Dreamer Ultra. I've been quoting this for a long time, and I haven't known exactly who to attribute it to. But I will say there's been a lot of these that once the phrase and the thought enters the zeitgeist, it's hard to actually attribute who gets the credit. Remember Carlos Mencia was busted by Joe Rogan for stealing jokes, and it's like, I don't know. There's a lot of jokes that kind of float out there, and it's like, where did you even come up with it? I don't know. Did you hear a joke and repeat it and not remember that it was somebody else's? I'm 100% certain that happens sometimes. Now, are you going to do a whole routine, line for line, word for word? Once again, that kind of gets back to us having the internet gives us the ability to call out everybody on their bullshit. Hillary Clinton on her whistle train, what do they call whistle stop campaign tours in the South? I keep hot sauce in my purse. And she goes into a deep Southern drawl, don't you know? Then she goes up to New York and talks like a New Yorker. And it's like she's pandering to everybody wherever she goes. But when it's on video, it's cringe AF. Oh, yeah, I said cringe AF. And it's blatant pandering. But anyway, this phrase, I've repeated it many times. Dreamer Ultra put it on there and said, Twitter is both a social media company and a crime scene. Now, remember that as they are getting ready to release the Epstein information, which they've had for way too long. I don't like that they've had it for this long. Anything could have been doctored or scrubbed or manipulated at this point. Selectively edited like the J6 committee. I'm sorry, the J6 kangaroo court. Sorry, the J6 witch hunt. Sorry, the J6 frame job to take out President Trump. Yeah, so Elon took over. Elon has everybody's private messages, right? I mean, I guess they would have been smart enough to maybe delete enough of those of the right people, right? Because they thought they were speaking on an encrypted, secure line. The dirt that Elon must have on people has to be astonishing, unless they took care of it before they let him buy it. But you've heard stories about what's going on with Meta, with Instagram and Facebook, and all the CP and the CA that's been going on there, and the code words being used, and the information, the videos and the footage being shared, the metadata involved. Yeah, why haven't they gone after Fedbook? Meta's more of a crime scene than Twitter. I mean, Elon took so much of this nonsense, this disgusting criminal activity offline. They went to Mastodon with it. They went to Instagram and Facebook with it. Other places. So what can they do, Valiant Thor? What can they do? Like I said, power grid down. Try to suspend the election. An electromagnetic burst. You got those Chinese balloons flying across the country, 2 or 3 of those strategically placed. That's all it takes. In the book 1 Second After by William Forstchen, forward by Newt Gingrich, talks about how 3 strategically placed electromagnetic pulse bombs, nuclear blast probably, could shut down the entire power grid. And then it's game time. With no power rolling, no medication. I mean, are you getting running water? What's the sewage situation? What's the sanitation situation? How much food and water do you have? What kind of security are you going to have with roving bands of who, God knows who? Security systems down. And the fact that everybody has your information, and if you're on the wrong side of their agenda, you're tagged, you're marked, you're flagged. They know where you're at. You'll get hit first in the first wave. And it'll come through like a thief in the night. That's what it will be, Valiant Thor. And that's not even to consider. I mean, why wouldn't Russia retaliate after being attacked? All that's going on in Ukraine is the U.S. attacking, pretending we're not. It's a proxy war. Why wouldn't China take this as their opportunity? They've got expansionist plans. What about places in the Middle East, from Iran to Saudi Arabia, Yemen, Afghanistan? Ooh, Kazakhstan. You want to talk about a country that you've never really talked about who might control all of it? That's a place to start, isn't it? So what could they do to top it? I mean, I would start there. Mixed with a Black Swan military event, economic event. And then, yeah, I mean, you could do COVID too. Look at how well it worked the first time. Look at what Kathy Hochul's doing in New York. I meant to get to that story about Chick-fil-A. They're passing legislation to try to force Chick-fil-A to stay open on Sunday. Are you out your damn minds? What the fuck is wrong with these people? Now, honestly, that's where I would expect Larry to have a clever retort, because there's got to be a 4 a.m. press release that goes out to all the handlers, all the trolls. It says, okay, when a right-leaning, when a libertarian / conservative-leaning / Republican-leaning / MAGA-leaning broadcaster mentions the Chick-fil-A story, hit him with this. So what do you got for that one, Larry? What did they tell you to say? What did Soros and Media Matters and the other goons tell you? When they bring up Chick-fil-A in New York, what do you say? I only remembered that because I was trying to talk about how Kathy Hochul is trying to, pass legislation. She's already passed some of it. They can just quarantine you, take you away, force medicine inside your body. Talk about getting raped. Like, you have bodily autonomy. You're not allowed to put something in there that you don't consent to. Oh, but Kathy Hochul in New York, pushing for all this nonsense. So anyway. All right. Thanks for sticking around. This is the Agree to Disagree show on the New American Media, because the old American media has failed you. Need you to follow us in all the spots, the Agree to Disagree show and the New American Media. So if I don't talk to you before Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, Merry Christmas. Christ is King. I hope you spend some time with your loved ones and reconnect to all the important things. Today's the solstice, right? The winter solstice. If you're of the pagan delineation or otherwise inclined to participate in a solstice event, please do so. Oh, yeah. Valiant Thor. I'm sorry. I totally forgot that. Not to discredit the UFOs, because past few years have been so stupid. They're like, oh, yeah, by the way, UFOs are real and we're not sure what's behind them. You're like, whatever. A collective humanity went, You are so right, because Project Bluebeam is where it's at. Look up Project Bluebeam. Put a hologram up there of Muhammad. Does Judaism have a person? There's a Muhammad for Islam. There's a Jesus Christ for Christianity. Is there a person for Judaism? But yeah, put your hologram over there on the Temple Mount. Feed them a message of something. And it's like that that meme where it says you can put 100 fire ants, 100 red ants, 100 black ants in a container, and they get along fine. But if you shake it up, they just attack each other. Project Bluebeam is something to look out for. But Valiant Thor here says, trust me, encountering a monstrous 900-foot black triangle drifting ominously over a mountain summit towards you induces a bone-chilling terror that defies comprehension until witnessed directly. Were those called the Phoenix Lights? Is that what that was referencing? The Phoenix Lights? Yeah, I saw something out in New Mexico. Came rocking through the Sangre de Cristos Mountains. Phoenix Lights, 26 years later. TR3B, what's that? I'm looking here. Okay, this is a giant triangle. For 106 minutes on March 3rd, people saw something like this V-shaped flying object over Arizona, and the thing still haunts them. There's the Phoenix Lights. Yeah, it looks like you call that a boomerang. This is a boomerang. Let me type in whatever you typed. TR3-B aircraft. Yeah, that's the first thing that came up. Yeah, TR3B. Yep. You know, so how much of this Black Triangle, how much of this stuff is U.S. made? How much of this is other? You know, China, Russia. Pick your country. You know, there's decent theories that there could be drones. Drones that end up underwater. What's a UAB? Aerial bases? What's a UAB? Underwater. No, I'm not. What's a UFO? Or the UFO in water. What's that called? Oh, I typed images. That's what's going on. USO, I think. Unidentified submersible object. Oh yeah. I mean, what could look, Valiant Thor, what could top COVID? Of course it could be UFO. Of course it could. And a pandemic 3.0 brought by the aliens. And then an economic crash bringing in CBDCs. That's your digital mark of the beast. You can't buy or sell anything without getting the mark of the beast. But hey, let's not take the black pill. Let's just work to fix what we can and get as prepared as we can in the meantime. No black pills allowed here. Because come on, if we're doing that, what's the damn point? What's the bloody point? You call that a knife? This is a knife. No black pills allowed. Black aircraft, maybe. Black SUVs, as Larry said. But no black pill. Larry, if you really want a good world, let's work to make it so. Same with you, Valiant Thor and Dreamer Ultra. And everybody else out there in the universe listening to the New American Media, because the old American Media failed. This has been a episode of the Agree to Disagree show on Thursday, December 21st, 2023. Special thanks to Blake, the eccentric Walley. Follow him at TV's Blake Walley, Walley, and thenextlevelnews.com. So I'm signing out for everybody here. Message retracted. What were you saying? One more comment. What can they do? Oh, you retracted I have 4 retracted comments. What's happening? All of Valiant Thor's comments are being retracted. What's happening? In real time, I'm watching this. Are you intentionally doing that? You have good comments. James Bates, what's up, buddy? Appreciate you listening, sir. Have a Merry Christmas, you and your loved ones. By the way, hit me up. Hit me up tomorrow evening, if you know what I mean. Okay? So, yeah, spend some time with your favorite people in the next few days. Merry Christmas and happy holidays if you're into other things, the solstice and otherwise. And until next time, I shall talk at you later. Peace out. And goodbye, farewell, adios.